21%. Chapter 101. If you don't take advantage of this opportunity and run for your life, you still have the guts to kill her. Master, don't panic, we are here to help you. As this delicate voice sounded, two figures suddenly appeared on the Baihua boat like ghosts. Next moment, accompanied by a sharp roar, a white fox phantom appeared on the Baihua boat, and with a roar, it struck Hu Wansheng with a palm. Boom! Between the collision of two palms. The roar also sounded, and Hu Wansheng was shot away on the spot. The terrible impact shook the Baihua boat. Fortunately, the person who took action gathered a protective barrier to prevent Nangong Jing and others from being thrown away. A strong man from the Fox clan. Seeing the phantom of the white fox appearing in front of his eyes, Hu Wansheng's pupils suddenly contracted violently. While his voice became sharp, he also seemed a little angry. It's just a little bit worse. You can catch that kid and use it to check and balance other strong men. Unexpectedly, a strong celestial being from the Fox clan was killed. This is really FKED up. Chance. It's now. And high in the sky. Seeing that Kayan was actually fighting spirit partitioning, Hongyun and Heian's eyes flashed coldly. How could they let go of this golden opportunity? When the low shout came out, the two pushed their cultivation to the extreme, even using all their energy to suck milk. Hongyun Zuri. Black flames burned the sky. Next moment, the two heavenly ranked divine abilities were displayed by the two of them, and they blended together like a black and red sun. Accompanied by the power of Wang, it slammed into Kayan. When Kayan saw that Xiao Chen was fine, she immediately turned around with a cold expression. Seeing the combined attack divine ability in front of them is enough to make the strong men at the 8th level of heaven and man change their expressions drastically, and even the strong men at the 9th level of heaven and man have to avoid the edge temporarily. Kayan's expression remained unchanged at this moment, and her face even showed a hint of forlornness and cruelty. Xiao Chen was almost in danger, which made her confused. These two idiots. If you don't take this opportunity to run for your life, you still have the guts to kill her. When the thought falls, Kayan pushed her cultivation to the extreme, pouring her true energy crazily into the red flame wind god wing. When the black and red sun was about to hit her, the wings on her back crossed and closed, directly covering her whole body. Then he fought hard with the black and red sun. Along with the roaring explosion, the colorful smoke turned into a sea of fire in a radius of thousands of feet. The space was constantly distorted by the impact, and there were even faint cracks that continued to spread in the twisted void. How arrogant! Even if you are a strong person in the 9th level of heaven and human realm, if you dare to withstand this combined attack of divine ability, you will be seriously injured on the spot even if you don't die. Seeing the colorful smoke submerged in the sea of fire, Hongyun and Heian immediately snorted coldly. But just as the two of them finished speaking, there was a sudden roar from the sea of fire. The two python shadows filled with colorful light roared through the sea of fire, and then rushed towards them. This is a 7-colored sky-swallowing python. She is Queen Medusa. Seeing the two fire pythons in front of them, coupled with the sense of familiarity from before, Hongyun and Heian's expressions changed drastically. They finally know. Why is this woman in red in front of me so eager to kill them all? It turns out that the other party is Queen Medusa of the Snake Tribe. The one who was attacked by their Valley Master and took away the resentment of the Earth's core fire for thousands of years. But at this time, Hongyun and Heian didn't have time to think too much. They roared with wild bursts of cultivation, and their swords and guns violently hit the two sky-devouring pythons. Accompanied by a harsh roar. Only then did they see clearly that the two phantoms of the sky-swallowing pythons were actually transformed into flying treasures with a pair of wings. Not good. Next moment, after not seeing Kayan's figure, a strong sense of life and death crisis exploded in the hearts of the two of them. But just when the thought fell, Kayan was holding the red flame mysterious sword, and like a messenger from hell, she was approaching in an instant. A terrifying red flame sword light directly passed through the two of them. Phew. With the sound of flesh breaking, these two celestial human realm powerhouses were almost dissembled. Along with the violent spray of blood, the vitality gradually disappeared at this time. And the other side, after Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying saw that Xiao Chen was fine, they vented their anger on the black and white ghosts. Only less than half a quarter of an hour. Under the crazy attacks of the two men, the black and white ghosts also stepped on the retreat of Heian and Hongyun. The 4 powerful men of the celestial human realm completely perished here. Below, seeing the battlefield being crushed above, Hu Wansheng's face instantly turned green. After being forced back by the old woman from the Fox tribe, He didn't even dare to say a harsh word. The next moment, his cultivation level exploded to the extreme, and he shot directly towards the mountains below. Old Yun, keep him. Seeing Hu Wansheng trying to escape, Bai Suxin stood beside Xiao Chen and spoke to the white-haired old woman. Hearing Bai Suxin's words, the white-haired old woman hesitated. Then he broke out his cultivation and rushed to intercept Hu Wansheng. You bastard, die for me. Also at this time, the colorful smoke that killed Black Flame and Hong Yun fell from the sky like a seraph under the blessing of the red flame wind god wings. The red flames in the sky swept across most of the void, and the sword light spread across 1,000 feet in the sky. With an unstoppable attitude, he slashed down on Hu Wansheng in an instant. Such a horrific scene. The white-haired old woman was so frightened that she stopped and did not dare to continue the pursuit. Don't blow it to pieces. Xiao Chen was shocked when he saw this scene while standing on the deck, and quickly shouted to Kaiyan. This is a celestial human realm powerhouse, and his body is equivalent to a heavenly rank treasure. If it is destroyed, a lot of points will be wasted. No. Hu Wansheng turned around. Seeing this sword light falling from the sky, the whole person let out an extremely desperate roar. The 4th level of heaven and human realm and the 9th level of heaven and human realm are completely different from each other by 5 small realms. What's more, Kaiyan is blessed with 2 heavenly rank treasures, and the attack power she unleashes will undoubtedly be even more terrifying. So at this time, facing this sword, Hu Wansheng couldn't dodge even if he exploded with all his strength. He can only fight against this terrifying sword light in despair and regret. Phew. The next moment, under the gaze of everyone, Hu Wansheng was split into 2 halves. The terrifying sword light fell on the mountains below, splitting the earth into 1,000-foot abyss. Such a horrific scene. Everyone on the Baihua boat was stunned, and their eyes were beating wildly at this moment. This woman is so scary. Just a furious sword. Not only did he split a strong celestial human realm man in 2, he also cut the mountain range below in half. And this scene, not only did it fall in the eyes of Xiao Chen and others, but also in the eyes of Duan Haoming and others. Elder Hong Yun, Elder Heian are all dead. Seeing this horrific fight, Duan Haoming's face turned pale with fear, and his 3 legs were trembling. Because of a Xuanqing snow lotus pill, 2 celestial human realm elders died. Fenyan Valley suffered extremely heavy losses this time. Yang Xiao on the side also looked ashen, and his heart sank to the bottom. Because of wrong decisions, not only did Zhenin Palace lose a heavenly being, but it even provoked a terrifying and powerful man. Now it's really over. Yang Xiao, didn't you say that that woman is a strong person from the universal truth realm? When Yang Xiao was thinking, Duan Haoming, who couldn't accept the fact, suddenly yelled at Yang Xiao. And this roar. In an instant, the expressions of several people around him changed dramatically, and a life and death crisis suddenly exploded. Because at this time, thousands of feet away in the sky, Kaiyan, who beheaded Hu Wansheng, had just put away the 2 severed corpses. He seemed to be aware of this little movement and glanced faintly this way. 21%. Chapter 102. It's like a boy giving away wealth, this wave has taken off. Duan Haoming, I'm going to FK your mother. Seeing that Kai Yan seemed to be paying attention, Yang Xiao roared in a broken voice, then turned around and ran away without hesitation. After Duan Haoming reacted, he also realized that he had gone too far. But now he had no chance to regret it. Because after Kaiyan sensed their presence, her figure directly turned into a stream of light, and endless red flames swept across the void. Without even any nonsense, a sword light swept out. I am the eldest son of Zhenin Palace, please show mercy. Seeing that Kaiyan didn't care about anything and just bombarded the mountains, Yang Xiao roared loudly at this moment. Boom. Before Yang Xiao could finish his words, the sword light fell on the mountains and roared, directly engulfing the opponent's figure. It doesn't matter whether he is the prince of Zhenin Palace or the prince of Daqian Palace. The man who dared to ambush and attack her should go to hell to repent. As the smoke disperses, Kaiyan found 4 corpses, and after briefly cleaning the battlefield, she flew towards the Baihua boat. And on the Baihua boat. After the fighting gradually came to an end, Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying also brought back the bodies of the black and white ghosts. Sir, why do you want their bodies? After Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying threw the bodies of the black and white ghosts on the deck, they both looked at Xiao Chen with puzzled faces. After they killed the black and white ghosts, Xiao Chen specially sent a message to them to bring the bodies back to the deck. Although they were a little confused, they still followed the instructions honestly. To know, although the corpses of strong men contain the majestic essence of flesh and blood, except for some strong men who practice magic, or strong men of other alien races. Strong human beings generally would not attack the corpses of the same kind. After all, in Kinglan realm, people of the same race cannot eat each other, otherwise they will encounter bad luck. This is a taboo engraved in the blood. Ahem, the medical skills I practice are quite special. They can purify the resentful atmosphere after death, so as to gain a deeper understanding of martial arts. So, I need some corpses of strong men to improve my understanding of medicine and martial arts. At the same time, this is also to save them. After hearing Lu Hanfei's inquiry, Xiao Chen couldn't help coughing and talking nonsense seriously. In order not to shock the world too much, I can only make it up like this. These days, it's not easy to earn points. It turns out that the young master has such superb medical skills because he has purified the accumulated resentments of countless strong men. Young master is truly a gifted person. After hearing what Xiao Chen said, Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying, who had been baptized by Xiao Chen, looked at Xiao Chen with admiration. Because they have a great fondness for Xiao Chen in their hearts, and Xiao Chen has shown too many miracles, Lu Hanfei and others are convinced. Bai Suxin and the white-haired old woman from the Fox tribe on the side were suspicious at this time, but they couldn't question Xiao Chen. After some deception, Xiao Chen walked to the bodies of the black and white ghosts, and then his cultivation exploded and condensed countless runes. Then it turned into flames and capsized, and at the same time issued a recovery command to the system. Ding! The system successfully recovered the designated corpse. Congratulations to the host for earning 67,456 points. After the system prompt tone falls. As a burst of white light flashed over the flames, the bodies of the black and white ghosts disappeared. This scene made the people around them couldn't help but widen their eyes, and Bai Suxin and the white-haired old woman took a deep breath. What a terrible flame! Even the corpse of a celestial human realm strongman can be burned and purified in the blink of an eye. Could this be some kind of unknown world called strange fire? And this young master Xiao's cultivation has actually reached the second level of grotto heaven. He seems to be only about 18 years old, but his cultivation has reached such a level. This young master Xiao's talent must have reached saint rank or above. The corpses of 2 first-level celestial beings are actually worth more than 60,000 points. This is quite a harvest. After hearing the system prompt, Xiao Chen's eyes lit up slightly. After receiving more than 60,000 points at once, his points reached 770,000. There were also several corpses of powerful celestial human realm warriors, and the other party's combat trophies were not recovered. If all were recycled, it would be enough to break the 1 million mark. Young master, these are the storage rings for these 2 people. These are the young master's trophies. When Xiao Chen's thoughts fell, Lu Hanfei was also very sensible at this time and did not covet the wealth of the black and white ghosts, so she handed over the 2 space Nai rings with her backhand. After all, if Xiao Chen hadn't asked Kai Yan to take action today, I'm afraid that all of them would have perished in this place. Even before death, they will also suffer inhumane insults. Therefore, even if they work together to kill the black and white ghosts, these trophies must be handed over to Xiao Chen. Well, I will take part of the resources from these 2 rings, and you 2 will divide the rest. Upon hearing this, Xiao Chen took the Naji and said to Lu Hanfei and others. No matter what, both of them were killed by the other party, so he couldn't swallow all the spoils. When thoughts fall, Xiao Chen probed into the 2 Na rings with his soul. Each one contained a large amount of resources. The total number of spiritual crystals was about 3 million. There are even all kinds of rare heavenly materials and earthly treasures, and all kinds of monster materials are also dazzling. He is worthy of being the demon wanted by the Dakian royal family. His net worth is much richer than that of Lu Hanfei and others. When the thought falls, Xiao Chen kept some useful treasures and immediately issued a recycling command to the system. Ding! The system is recycling all designated items. Congratulations to the host for earning 185,654 points. After hearing this prompt from the system, Xiao Chen's pupils couldn't help but shrink. More than 180,000 points, plus more than 70,000 before. The black and white twin ghosts, a pair of resentful brothers, provided him with nearly 260,000 points. This is simply a pair of money-giving boys. These 2 Na rings contain 1 million spiritual crystals and some resources. Consider them the trophies you captured this time. After taking away most of the spiritual crystals and most of the resources, Xiao Chen handed the 2 Na rings back to Lu Hanfei. Son. After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying trembled and looked at Xiao Chen in disbelief. Obviously didn't expect it. Xiao Chen also kept so much wealth for them. However, just when the two of them were moved, they wanted to say something. Xiao Chen raised his hand to stop the other party. We will all be a family in the future anyway, there is no need to push back and forth here for this little resource. And at this time, Kaiyan also returned to the Baihua boat. Just when he was about to hand over all the corpses and trophies to Xiao Chen, he was stopped by the other party raising his hand. Other corpses and trophies can be dealt with later. Right now, the first priority is to deal with the Fox Saint and the opponent's protector. This is Xiao Chen. Thank you both for your help just now. Looking at the ordinary-looking Fox Clan Saint in front of him, Xiao Chen smiled lightly and then cupped his hands and said, "But Xiao has a question. You two followed us all the way from Tiandu City. You probably didn't want to come out to rescue Xiao at the right time when Xiao was in trouble, right?" 21%. Chapter 103. Could it be that young master wants to change his taste? You. Hearing Xiao Chen's straightforward words, the white-haired old woman frowned. Just as he was about to say something, Bai Suxin stopped him. Young master speaks quickly. Bai Suxin looked at the young man in front of her, smiled lightly and spoke softly. We have no ill intentions towards the young master, we just want to make friends with him. To make friends. Xiao Chen smiled lightly when he heard this, looked at the other person, and then said something meaningful. You have traveled thousands of miles to follow us, just to make friends with me. Hu Wansheng wanted to arrest him just now. Although the situation seemed urgent, he was sure that he could escape. But before he could use his trump card, these two people suddenly appeared. Apparently he had been watching from the sidelines for a long time. Although it is said that the heart of a gentleman cannot be judged by the heart of a villain, the ancients also said that it is indispensable to be on guard against others. Bai Suxin followed them all the way, definitely not to make friends. Since the young master said it so straightforwardly, Su Xin won't beat around the bush. Bai Suxin was silent for a moment after hearing this, then raised her head and stared directly at Xiao Chen, took a deep breath and said with a heavy voice, I want Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill. What? When these words were spoken, Nangong Jing and others were shocked. Even Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying stared at Bai Suxin with serious eyes. Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill. This is the key to curing the Great Elder, and they paid a huge price to get it in the auction. How can you just hand it over to others casually? So that's what it's for. Xiao Chen just smiled lightly when he heard this and signaled others not to be too nervous. Can I know the reason? Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill is a healing and life-saving pill. Although it is also used in practice, except for some fire attribute strong people, other strong people rarely use it for practice. Is it possible? Is it because an important figure in the Fox clan was severely injured that the Holy Lady of the Fox clan did not hesitate to venture into human territory to find a life-saving elixir? My sister is waiting for it to save her life. Sure enough, when Xiao Chen finished his thoughts, Bai Suxin said frankly. So I would like to implore Master Xiao and everyone to give me this Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill. No matter what the price is, as long as it doesn't go too far, I, Bai Suxin, can accept it. In order to save her sister's life, Bai Suxin also risked her life. Now she just asks Xiao Chen to agree and not to ask too much, so that her trip can be completed successfully. Certainly, if the other party wants her to commit herself, then she can only bargain a little more. Impossible. As Bai Su's thoughts were spinning, Lu Hanfei spoke at this moment. Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill is related to the life and death of our great elder. It is impossible for us to give it to you. For the help you two gave us just now, we can use other resources in return. But Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill is absolutely impossible. Finished. Lu Hanfei wanted to take off the space ring on her hand and give the resources inside to the two of them in return. Although Bai Suxin and the white-haired old woman came to help with purpose. But no matter what, the other party rescued Mr. Xiao once, which was a great help to them and their group, and they should repay the favor. I'll talk to her myself about this matter. But just then, Xiao Chen suddenly raised his hand to stop Lu Hanfei, then looked at Bai Huazhou's wing and said something meaningful to Bai Suxin. Come in with me. After saying that, Xiao Chen walked straight to the side room, which shocked the others. Call this Fox tribe woman into the side room alone. Could it be that young master wants to? After thinking of a certain possibility, Lu Hanfei and others looked at each other with unbelievable expressions. But this is unlikely. The young master is as handsome as a god, and there is no shortage of stunning beauties around him, so it is possible for even them to sleep with him. As for the woman in white in front of her, although she is from the Fox clan, she is somewhat pretty. But her appearance is still much worse than theirs, so she probably isn't the type that the young master likes. Is it possible, young master, you want to change your taste and try the Fox girl's little slut? Seeing Xiao Chen turn around and walk into the side room, Nangong Jing, Lu Hanfei and the others began to speculate in their hearts. When Bai Suxin heard these words and saw Xiao Chen walking into the wing, her expression couldn't help but change. She was a little confused at this time. She had obviously put on a disguise and her appearance was not as stunning as her real face. Why did Xiao Chen ask her to go into the private room alone to talk privately? Could it be that this human man saw through her disguise? After thinking of this possibility, Bai Suxin's pupils shrank slightly. Master, let you in. After seeing Xiao Chen walk into the wing, Bai Suxin was still standing there and her expression changed. Kaiyan opened her eyes at this moment and said. Although she didn't know why Xiao Chen asked this person in, she believed that Xiao Chen was not that hungry. Call this person in. It probably wasn't for the little thing about the lower body. Bai Suxin took a deep breath after hearing this, then suppressed all the distracting thoughts in her heart and walked into the wing room. Holy Miss, the white-haired old woman on the side saw this scene and was about to follow her and say something, but was stopped by Bai Suxin. The next moment, Bai Suxin walked into the wing room and the door was closed. Although Lu Hanfei and others were a little curious, they did not dare to pry with their soul thoughts at this time. And the white-haired old woman just wanted to take a peek, but was locked by the colorful smoke machine. This made the other party's expression freeze, and he could only wait patiently outside the room. It took you so long to follow up. Are you afraid that this young master will eat you? Inside the wing, after Bai Suxin walked in, Xiao Chen turned around with a smile, and then said something that made the other person's pupils almost explode. I can give you the Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill, but what can you give me for this? What? After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Bai Suxin suddenly raised her head and looked at Xiao Chen in disbelief. Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill, isn't it on the Wanwaman group? Why would Mr. Xiao speak like this? In order to avoid accidents after leaving Tiandu City, they temporarily handed over the Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill to me for safekeeping, so the Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill is now in my possession. Seemingly sensing Bai Suxin's doubts, Xiao Chen added with a slight smile. How can I trust young master? Bai Suxin was not that easy to fool, and she immediately stared at Xiao Chen with a solemn expression. Forget it, let me see the real thing. Xiao Chen was not angry when he heard this. He took out a pill bottle with his backhand, and then took out the Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill. Certainly, this Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill was made by using a fragment of the pill to consume 36,000 points when he entered the wing. The brand new elixir that was temporarily created was different from the one in Lu Hanfei's hand. Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill. Feeling this special elixir aura, Bai Suxin's face showed a look of shock. She can see the shattering void and can naturally distinguish between true and false. The Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill in front of her was the same one she saw at the auction. There is almost no difference, it is indeed the real thing. Unexpectedly, Wanwaman would place such a valuable elixir on Mr. Xiao. Who is this Mr. Xiao? And why should the elixir be traded? 22%. Chapter 104. Hey, your tail. Can I touch it? Young master, this Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill is a life-saving gift for the great elder of Wanhua sect. Aren't you afraid that the strong men of Wanhua sect will find out and turn against you and deny you the master afterwards? After taking a deep breath and suppressing the distracting thoughts in her heart, Bai Suxin asked in a deep voice. If the two heavenly elders of Wanwaman knew that Xiao Chen actually used Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill to make a deal with her. Even if Queen Medusa was here, she would probably rush in and disrupt the situation. I have other ways to cure the great elder of Wanwaman, but some of the women outside don't believe me. For the sake of saving me just once, I am willing to take a risk for you. I wonder if you are satisfied with this answer. Hearing Bai Suxin's words, Xiao Chen replied with a faint smile. This Humizi was indeed very suspicious. After confirming that the elixir was genuine, she still hesitated for so long. In a word, do you want this elixir? She didn't want to let this foxy girl ask questions. When Bai Suxin wanted to ask something else, Xiao Chen stopped the topic with one sentence. Want. Bai Suxin was silent for a moment after hearing this, and then immediately took off a ring from her hand. This ring contains 4.2 million spiritual crystals, as well as some heavenly materials and earthly treasures that I harvested when I was at Shiwanda Mountain. I wonder if these can be worth this Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill. Xiao Chen's eyes lit up slightly when he heard this, and then he reached out and took the ring. The next moment, as his soul thought penetrated, a satisfied smile appeared on his lips. 4.2 million spiritual crystals, plus some heavenly materials and earthly treasures, the total price exceeds 5 million. Okay, this Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill belongs to you. Taking out all the items in the Space Nai ring, Xiao Chen threw the Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill and the Nai ring to Bai Suxin. Although spiritual crystals cannot be recycled directly, they can be exchanged for countless resources in the future. After spending 36,000 points and getting 5 million resources, this wave is simply a huge profit. Remember, leave directly later and don't say anything you shouldn't say. After casually telling Bai Suxin, Xiao Chen walked straight to the door. Next, he still had to rush to Wanwaman to harvest a wave, and then found a secluded place to help Kayan upgrade the bloodline of the sky-swallowing python. As this done, Bai Suxin stared blankly at the Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill, obviously not expecting to get it so easily. She thought Xiao Chen would be dissatisfied and make more excessive demands, but she didn't expect that the other party only wanted money. By the way, I have a small request that I need you to satisfy. When Bai Suxin was stunned, Xiao Chen seemed to have remembered something and turned around with an interested look on his face. This made Bai Suxin couldn't help but feel a little thump in her heart. It is said that the Fox clan is rich in handsome men and beautiful women, and all of them are stunning in appearance. As a saint of the Fox clan, you must be extremely stunning. I wonder if you can let me see your hidden true face. Boom. As Xiao Chen's last words fell, there was a roar in Bai Suxin's mind, and her pupils shrank into needle shapes at this moment. She never expected the human boy in front of her actually saw through her disguise. To know, she relied on a heavenly rank supreme grade treasure to disguise herself, and even a strong person at the 9th level of heavenly rank would find it difficult to see through this disguise. But what shocked her the most was, why did Xiao Chen know that she was the saint of the Fox clan? Along the way, she only had little contact with Xiao Chen, just the one just now. When was her identity revealed? Su Xin. Don't know what the young master is talking about. After suppressing the turmoil in her heart, Bai Suxin pretended to be calm and said, her identity is very sensitive and involves the secrets of the Fox clan. If anyone knew about it, I'm afraid it would cause big trouble. After all, she is the only saintess in thousands of years besides the ancestor of the Qingqiu Fox clan. Don't worry, I am not interested in your identity, I just want to see your true face. Seemingly sensing Bai Suxin's concerns, Xiao Chen waved his hands with a faint smile. People are curious. After transmigrate over, he has already seen what Medusa looks like, and now that he sees people from the Fox clan, he will inevitably be a little curious. Now that the young master has said this, Su Xin will no longer hide his clumsiness. After Bai Suxin was silent for a while, she finally removed her disguise. Next moment, a burst of white light flashed past. One was as beautiful as Kayan, with a head full of white hair and 2 furry ears. There is a woman in white with 4 fluffy fox tails behind her and a curvy figure. Then it appeared in front of Xiao Chen. Image of Bai Suxin Fox Girl. As this, the little fox girl. Seeing Bai Suxin in front of him, Xiao Chen's eyes suddenly lit up. It looks like a new continent has been discovered. After the Fox tribe reaches the Nirvana realm, they can change between the human form and the Fox tribe form. This bloodline advantage is much stronger than that of the Snake tribe. Bai Suxin's cultivation has not reached the Nirvana realm, so she can only change her form through the Fox clan's treasure. I didn't expect that the other party's true face would be so enchanting and beautiful. Especially the 4 fluffy fox tails, one look at them makes people want to stroke them. Sir, have you seen enough? Seeing Xiao Chen looking around her like a curious baby, Bai Suxin suddenly felt ashamed. Hey, your tail. Can I touch it? Hearing Bai Suxin's words, Xiao Chen looked at the tails, coughed dryly and said expectantly. At this time, the tail's allure to him was a little greater than the ball. No, Bai Suxin was startled when she heard this, and quickly moved away from Xiao Chen. Her expression became a little wary. The tail of a Fox tribe girl can only be stroked by her partner. So, please forgive me, Mr. Xiao. After saying that, as if she was afraid that Xiao Chen would rush over and masturbate a few times, Bai Suxin made a seal with both hands and returned to her human appearance. Young master's kindness today will be engraved in my heart. From now on, if the young master goes to Shiwanda Mountain, he can look for me among the Qingqiu Fox clan. At that time, Su Xin will definitely work with her sister to treat the young master's kindness favorably. Immediately afterwards, before Xiao Chen could say anything, Bai Suxin lowered her head and ran out of the room. Xiao Chen was baffled by this scene. Only partners can touch. There is such a rule. Seeing Bai Suxin's leaving figure, Xiao Chen muttered somewhat depressedly. What Xiao Chen doesn't know is that the fox girl's tail is naturally very sensitive, and she will easily have some kind of impulse once she is touched. Therefore, in the fox tribe, except for the corresponding partners, the tails of fox tribe girls cannot be touched casually. Miss. And outside the wing, seeing the door suddenly opened and Bai Suxin's face flushed with embarrassment, the white-haired old woman's complexion suddenly changed. Apparently he thought Xiao Chen had done something shameful to Bai Suxin. Don't ask. Let's get out of here first. Bai Suxin raised her hand to stop the white-haired old woman from asking, and then asked her to follow her out of Baihuazhou. This scene, Lu Hanfei and others frowned slightly. Is this a little too fast? Less than half a quarter of an hour after we entered, this woman ran away with a red face. Could it be that Mr. Xiao is a fast man? 22%. Chapter 105. Could it be that this guy came from the Xiao family in Luyun City? Son. After Bai Suxin left, seeing Xiao Chen walking out of the wing, Nangong Jing and others were hesitant to speak. Ahem, what do you look like? Seeing the weird looks in their eyes, Xiao Chen couldn't help coughing dryly and emphasized a few words seriously. I just wanted to thank her. Nothing happened between us. Don't insult my noble character with your suspicious eyes. An education. Lu Hanfei and others blushed, and they all lowered their heads in shame. Really, the young master doesn't want anything from a woman, so why bother harming a fox girl at this time? Not to mention, when Bai Suxin left just now, her aura seemed to be very pure, and she probably had not been broken by the man. It seems that they think too much. Sir, these are their corpses and storage rings. When Lu Hanfei and others were thinking about it, Kaiyan walked over and waved her hand, and the corpses of Heian, Hongyun, Hu Wansheng and others suddenly appeared on the deck. At the same time, several Na rings also floated towards Xiao Chen. This scene, the eyes of Lu Hanfei and others froze slightly. Wu Liang, that heavenly venerable, I will save them now. Their death is indeed a bit too tragic. Look at these corpses in front of you. Xiao Chen did what he did just now. After covering it up casually, he gave instructions to the system. Ding. The system is recovering all the designated corpses. Congratulations to the host for earning 157,454 points. As the system prompt sounded, Xiao Chen's face showed a hint of joy. Unexpectedly, the corpses of 3 celestial human realm experts, plus 2 universal truth realms and 2 make-up ones, could actually recover more than 150,000 points. These guys are making the best use of their resources. And Lu Hanfei and others. Seeing the scene in front of me, it was not difficult to accept it. These guys can be saved after death, which is really the blessing they accumulated in their previous lives. I hope that in the next life I can keep my eyes open and stop provoking the wrong people. Xiao Chen didn't pay attention to what Lu Hanfei and others were thinking. When the Baihua boat flew quickly towards the Wanhua Gate, he recovered all the materials in the ring. As the resources of several Na rings were recovered, Xiao Chen's points balance at this time actually reached an astonishing 1.5 million, which was nearly double the 800,000 he expected. This made Xiao Chen feel ecstatic. She even wanted to take Kaiyan and Marong Qingshe and go into the wing room to celebrate. Sir, did you find any treasure? Seeing Xiao Chen's rare expression of ecstasy, Kaiyan asked curiously. No, Xiao Chen shook his head when he heard this, and then replied with a slight smile. It's just that the resources I have now are enough to transform your blood. What? Hearing Xiao Chen's words, Kaiyan was stunned for a moment, then looked ecstatic. Didn't she remember that Xiao Chen had said before that transforming her bloodline would be as difficult as buying a saint weapon? It doesn't seem that exaggerated now. Could it be that Xiao Chen was just scaring her before? This little cutie. I really want to drag him in and punish him, and then squeeze him dry bit by bit. Think of this. Kaiyan stared at Xiao Chen with burning eyes, making Xiao Chen feel numb. At the same time, Wangzhou, Tai Sword Sect. Trash, Li Hai was murdered in Tiandu City, and you still can't find the real culprit. An old man in black stood in front of the mountain gate, scolding several men with a gloomy expression. This person is one of the supreme elders of Tai Sword Sect and Li Hai's master. His name is Wang Yangfeng, and he has a cultivation level of the 4th level of universal truth. Supreme Elder, actually we have found out some clues. Elder Li Hai originally accepted a disciple named Lin Feng, who is the young patriarch of the Lin family in Tiandu City. Some time ago, during the sect's disciple recruitment competition, a young man named Xiao Chen was killed with heavy hands. I didn't expect that the Lin family in Tiandu City would be retaliated for this, and the whole family would be wiped out in broad daylight. Elder Li Hai also died in the Lin family. It's incredible. The Xiao family of Luyun City, which offended the Lin family, has risen rapidly during this period. Directly destroy the other 2 major families in Luyun City, and overwhelm the city lord's mansion to become the largest family. Behind the Xiao family. It is suspected that there are powerful people from the Universal Truth realm helping. After being scolded by Wang Yangfeng, one of the men reported back. The Xiao family in Luyun City. After hearing the information told by the man, Wang Yangfeng's eyes flashed with cold light. A family that had a grudge against the Lin family in Tiandu City suddenly rose up during this period of time. And the other party just happened to be wiped out again. You can imagine it with your butt, the 2 must be involved. In that case, I will personally go to the Xiao family in Luyun City. If this matter is really related to them, then there is no need for the Xiao family to exist. As these words fell, Wang Yangfeng's eyes were filled with killing intent. A family that suddenly rises must have some kind of luck. If the person behind the Xiao family is just the Universal Truth realm, don't blame him for being ruthless. Where do you want to go, Elder Taisheng? Just when Wang Yangfeng was about to leave, Nalan Shiji, who had just returned to the sect, suddenly asked with some confusion. It turns out it's the young sect master. I'm planning to go to Luyun City. Seeing Nalan Shiji, the young sect leader, Wang Yangfeng didn't do much to show off at this time, and explained the cause of the matter in a few sentences. Elder Li Hai died in Tiandu City. It was probably the person behind the Xiao family in Luyun City who did it. Could it be that it could be him? After hearing Wang Yangfeng's words, Nalan Shiji seemed to remember something, and his expression couldn't help but change. Also named Xiao. There are also strong men from the Universal Truth realm following behind him, which is hard not to associate with him. Could this guy come from the Xiao family in Luyun City? After thinking of this possibility, Nalan Shiji's eyes flashed coldly, and he immediately raised his head and said to Wang Yangfeng, Tai Shang Elder, let me go with you on this trip. I happen to have something to confirm. Then, under Wang Yangfeng's slightly confused look, Nalan Shiji gave a brief explanation. But he just said, I happen to have an enemy with the same surname as Xiao, and I just wanted to go over and confirm my life experience. Wang Yangfeng did not think carefully at this time, so he took Nalan Shiji and the old man in gray to Luyun City. The other side. Burning Flame Valley. As several figures descended, the entire Burning Flame Valley was alarmed. It's the owner of the valley. The Valley Master is back. Feeling the terrifying cultivation aura from the leader, the elders of Burning Flame Valley were all alarmed at this time. One by one, they rushed out of the cave mansion and then respectfully landed in front of the 3 of them. Welcome the Valley Master, the first elder, and the second elder to return. Well, where are Ming'er, Huo Yun and the others? Aren't you back yet? Duan Yantian glanced around, but did not see Duan Haoming, Hong Yun and others, and asked in a low voice. Now he has thousands of years of earth core fire sealed in his body, and is in an extremely unstable state. Without the help of Xuanqing's Snow Lotus Pill, he might accidentally lose control and run away. Not yet. After hearing Duan Yantian's words, one of the elders shook his head. But just as he finished speaking, a horrified voice suddenly came from the sect hall. 22%. Chapter 106. These old ladies at Wanwaman are forcing him to harvest each other's tonic. Something bad is going to happen. The soul cards of the young master, the 3rd elder, and the 5th elder are all broken. Boom. As these words echoed, thunder exploded in the minds of everyone present. There is a sect hall in Fenyan Valley, where the soul cards of core members are placed. Every soul card is closely related to the opponent's life. Once the soul card is broken, it means the death of this person. How can this be? Duan Yantian roared angrily at this moment and rushed directly towards the sect hall. The disciple who came to report the news was directly thrown away dozens of feet away. Damn it, how could Ming'er and Hongyun possibly fall? Entering the main hall of the sect leader, Duan Yantian let out a shocking roar after looking at the 3 broken soul tablets. Thousand Flowers Gate. UF King bitches. Duan Haoming and the others went to auction the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill. Unexpectedly, the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill was snapped up by Wanwaman. Later, Duan Haoming sent him a text message, saying that the 2 elders and the Crown Prince of Lian Zhenin Palace had been dispatched. They must intercept the Wanwaman group on the way and completely seize the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill. Just let him wait for the good news with peace of mind. Unexpectedly, instead of waiting for this good news, I waited for shocking bad news. How could such an accident happen to the 2 elders of the celestial human realm and the powerful man from Zhenin Palace? Even if something unexpected happens, not everyone will die. Could it be that the old woman from Wanwaman has left seclusion? As the thoughts in his heart turned, Duan Yantian's whole body was filled with murderous intent. The aura on his body also became more and more violent, as if he would go berserk on the spot in the next moment. Valley Master, what should we do now? Seeing Duan Yantian's extremely ferocious expression, Great Elder Huo Yan asked at this time. It doesn't matter that a young master died, but the main thing was that 2 heavenly elders died. This is an extremely heavy loss for Fenyan Valley. In the future, its high-end combat power will be much weaker than other forces. You guys, follow me to Wanwaman. After hearing Huo Yan's words, Duan Yantian suddenly raised his head, his eyes turning extremely blood red. Wanwaman auctioned the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill at a high price. It must be that a certain elder was seriously injured and needs the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill to heal his injuries and save his life. As for Hongyun and Heian, no matter how they fell, with the strength of the 2 of them, if they counterattack before they die, they will be enough to cause serious damage to the person who takes action. That means, some of those stinky bitches at Wanwaman have been seriously injured. This is our chance for revenge. As these words fell, Huo Yan and several elders couldn't help but stare. Have to say, Duan Yantian analyzed it very rationally and did not lose his mind at all. And, with the 1000-year earth core fire in my body, without the assistance of the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill, I'm afraid it will be difficult for the integrated union to succeed in the end. Seeing the silence of the elders of the heavenly beings, Duan Yantian continued to speak at this time. So, we must successfully seize this pill before the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill is taken. At that time, with the help of Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill, I will be able to break through to Saint Realm if I successfully integrate Union Strange Fire. Only then can the status of Fenyan Valley be unshakable, and even replace the royal family of Dakian to control the world. After hearing what Duan Yantian said, Huo Yan and the others trembled violently. This is indeed true. If Duan Yantian can break through the Saint Realm, even if Burning Flame Valley loses 2 elders, he will still have the strength to suppress other forces. It will even reach an unprecedented new height under the leadership of Duan Yantian. Without further delay, we will set off immediately. Once the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill is completely refined, we will miss the best opportunity to take action. After this thought fell, Huo Yan spoke in agreement. It doesn't matter. If the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill is refined, as long as we can successfully capture those old ladies from Wanwaman, the same goes for refining strange fire with the help of their primordial yin. Seeing that Huo Yan and others were successfully inspired by him, Duan Yantian had a ferocious look on his face. If he had to choose between 2 methods, he would prefer to supplement primordial yin. With the help of the primordial yin from the women of Wanwaman, the success rate of refining strange fire to break through to Saint Realm would be much higher than refining Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill. It's just that the risks of this approach are too great, and it can easily lead to a lose-lose situation. He just retreated and asked for the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill, but he didn't expect that such an accident would happen now. These old ladies from Wanwaman are forcing him to feed each other. As Duan Yantian and others rushed towards the sky, speeding towards the Wanwa Gate, Duan Yantian did not forget to send a text message to King Zhenin, asking the other party to send celestial human realm strongmen to follow him to destroy Wanwaman. After all, there is an inextricable relationship between Fenyan Valley and Zhenin Prince's palace, and his son was ambushed together with the Prince of Zhenin during this trip. Since Duan Haoming, Hongyun and others are dead, the people in Zhenin Palace must also be destroyed. Makes sense. King Zhenin would be furious and send strong men to cooperate with them, and he might even personally go out to kill Wanwaman together. Zhenin Palace. Yang Pojun, the king of Zhenin, was reading a secret letter when the bad news of Yang Xiao's murder suddenly came. Your Majesty, His Highness the Fifth Prince is dead. Hearing the words spoken by the old man in gray, Yang Pojun raised his head slightly at this time, with a surprised look on his face. How did you die? The next moment, there was no rage as imagined, only a calmness like stagnant water. Yang Pojun asked with a cold voice. Yang Xiao has been a little too out of touch recently. He even wanted to woo the rich daughter of the Xian Chamber of Commerce in order to gain chips and increase his own weight. If you are so eager to express yourself, it is not unexpected that something will happen. It's not clear yet. I just know that His Royal Highness traveled tens of thousands of miles to Tiandu City in Guangzhou in order to please Miss Ziluo. Hearing Yang Pojun's words without any emotion, the old man in gray lowered his head and said respectfully. But as long as you give me 3 days, I will be able to get to the bottom of the matter. Just when these words fell, before Yang Pojun could say anything, the jade pendant around his waist suddenly lit up. As his soul touched the jade pendant, a text message came into his mind. 10,000 Flowers Gate. After receiving the text message from Duan Yantian, Yang Pojun's eyes narrowed slightly. No need to check. Go and complete what I have assigned you first. It is related to my century-old plan, and there is no room for any mistakes. As Yang Pojun finished these 2 sentences, the old man in gray couldn't help but shudder. It seems that the prince has reached an agreement with that person and is determined to take action against the Qingqiu Fox clan. Soon after, the 100,000 mountains should no longer be peaceful. Sir, the Wanhua Gate is ahead. We have just sent a message to the Great Elder, and she is already waiting at Baihua Pavilion. When Duan Yantian and his party quickly approached Wanwaman, Yang Pojun was planning something at this time. Xiao Chen and others also arrived at the Wanhua Gate. The Baihua boat sailed almost unimpeded, directly crossing the mountain gate and heading to the deepest point. All kinds of beauties with flowing white hair along the way, as well as scenes that looked like a fairy palace in a fairyland, gave Xiao Chen a visual feast. It didn't take long. Under the leadership of Lu Hanfei and others, Xiao Chen, Kaiyan and others also came to Baihua Pavilion. As the door was pushed open, in the main hall, there was a woman with a picturesque appearance, a face as pale as paper, and a somewhat cold expression. It also caught the eyes of Xiao Chen and others. This person is none other than Duan Muzuying, the great elder of Wanhua sect, a strong man with cultivation in the 8th level of heaven and human. Image of Duan Muzuying, the great elder of Wanhua sect. 22%. Chapter 107. No matter what grudges were in the past, they are already in the past. Is this the great elder of Wanwaman? She looks quite different. Looking at Duan Muzuying sitting on the futon, Xiao Chen couldn't help but sigh. It was like the women surrounding him since he transmigrated. All of them are beautiful and beautiful. Fortunately, they have a good concentration, otherwise they would have holes in their pants every day. Kaiyan's white hair should be beautiful too, right? Seeing all the white-haired beauties in Wanhua Gate, Xiao Chen suddenly thought about it curiously. Xiao Chen imagined Queen Medusa with white hair. She was so beautiful. Great Elder, this is young Master Xiao. This one is Murong Qingshe, who has a very advanced body of pure yin. And this one, when Xiao Chen was in a trance. After Lu Hanfei and others entered the hall, they introduced Duan Muzuying. When it came to Kaiyan, Lu Hanfei paused for a moment and realized they didn't know each other's name yet. Duan Muzuying's eyes swept across Xiao Chen and Murong Qingshe, and finally landed directly on Kaiyan, meeting that cold gaze. Next moment, looking at this cold look, there is also a familiar feeling between the eyebrows. Duan Muzuying seemed to remember something at this moment, and her pupils couldn't help but shrink violently at this moment. You are Queen Medusa. So similar. This cold and indifferent look, this feeling of déjà vu. It immediately reminded her of 15 years ago, when she led several other elders into the endless desert, hoping to find the legendary 1,000-year earth core fire. Let's see if we can suppress or cure the terrible yin-qi backlash in their bodies with the help of the strange fire power of the Millennium Earth Core Fire. Unexpectedly, after they entered the endless desert, they were regarded as provocation by the snake people. Queen Medusa led several elders of the snake tribe to drive their group out of the endless desert. A group of people also clashed. Later, she even fought against Queen Medusa in person, but because of her cultivation, she was a little lower than her opponent. In less than a few dozen rounds of that fight, she was injured by Queen Medusa. The group of people was chased from the depths of the endless desert to the outskirts by Queen Medusa. If her sister Duan Muzuying hadn't arrived in time, they would have suffered heavy losses. Therefore, Duan Muzuying is still deeply impressed by the woman who injured her, even though 15 years have passed. Although Kayan was now covered with a veil, Duan Muzuying still recognized her at the first sight. This must be Queen Medusa. Unexpectedly, the other party dared to come to Wanhua Gate, and her lower body had turned into legs. Could it be that she had already broken through to Saint Realm? Between thoughts, Duan Muzuying stared at Kayan with a vigilant expression, and even her cultivation aura became impatient, as if she would explode on the spot in the next moment. Great Elder, don't be nervous. She is Mr. Xiao's beauty and our reliable friend. Seeing Duan Muzuying looking like she was facing a formidable enemy, Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying hurriedly spoke at this moment. This trip returned to Wanwaman, and we were ambushed by powerful men from Burning Flame Valley and Zhenan Palace. If she hadn't helped in time, I'm afraid all of us would have been buried in the Kang Cloud Mountain veins, and we would have even been insulted by those beasts before we died. Along the way, although Kayan did not tell them her true identity, the aura of the other party's skills during the fight even condensed the shadow of the colorful sky-swallowing python, as well as Duan Muzuying's overreaction. It undoubtedly shows Kayan is Queen Medusa. But no matter what, Kayan has no ill intentions towards them now, and even saved them once. Therefore, they no longer need to worry about being expelled from the endless desert 15 years ago. After Duan Muzuying heard these words, she couldn't help but remain silent at this time. The text message that just came. It was only said that a group of people encountered trouble on the way, but the specific situation was not explained in detail. Unexpectedly, the group of people encountered such a dangerous situation. Fortunately, nothing happened to a few people, otherwise Wanwaman would have suffered heavy losses. So, Zuying would like to thank Queen Medusa for her help. When her thoughts fell, Duan Muzuying stood up and spoke in a low voice to Kai Yan. You don't need to test me anymore. Hearing Duan Muzuying call out the title Queen Medusa again, Kayan raised her eyes slightly and glanced at her lightly. This is your territory. As long as you don't get hot-headed, I won't do anything to you. These people have all fought against her, so it is normal for them to know her identity. However, with her current combat power, even if all the elders of Baihua sect are dispatched, she is sure to lead Xiao Chen away safely. Even causing Wanwaman to pay a heavy price. So Kayan didn't intend to deceive herself and others, and simply admitted her identity calmly. Hiss. Although Kayan's identity was already confirmed in his heart, when he heard Kayan calling himself the king. No matter it was Duan Muzuying, Lu Hanfei and others, they were still shocked and stirred up a storm in their hearts. Her name is Kayan. No matter what her true identity is, all you need to know now is that she is my young master's woman. And we came to Wanwaman this time to help you, not to find trouble. Feeling that the surrounding atmosphere had become a little subtle, Xiao Chen frowned and stood up and said directly. As these words fell, Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying were shocked, and immediately nodded and agreed. Young master said so. No matter what grudges we had in the past, they are in the past. After saying that, Lu Hanfei looked at Duan Muzuying, and then secretly transmitted her true energy to the latter. Great Elder, Mr. Xiao can cure the hidden diseases in all of us. There is even a more mysterious Master Saint realm behind him. It can help us perfect the sex-inherited skills and completely get rid of the trouble of Yin-Qi backlash. What? After hearing Lu Hanfei's words, Duan Muzuying's expression suddenly changed. Obviously didn't expect. The young master in front of him could actually possess such abilities, and his background was so terrifying. To have the strong saint realm backing me is something Wanwaman cannot afford to offend. There is one more thing I didn't say before, and I must remind the great elder now. That is the current Queen Medusa. She is much more powerful than before. She also has several heavenly rank supreme grade treasures in her hands. In less than half a quarter of an hour, he killed the 2 heavenly elders of Burning Flame Valley. Even the sect master is no match for this kind of strength. After Lu Hanfei added these words, Duan Muzuying was completely stunned at this moment. In less than half a quarter of an hour, 2 powerful celestial human realm warriors were killed. Could it be that this Queen Medusa has already stepped into the Saint realm? So I ask the Great Elder to put the overall situation first and forget the past grudges with Queen Medusa, otherwise the Wanhua sect will be in disaster. Seeing Duan Muzuying's pupils shrinking in shock, Lu Hanfei added another reminder, fearing that Duan Muzuying would do something stupid if her brain got hot. Do not worry. Although I was aggrieved by being hunted 15 years ago, I have not lost my rationality yet. After stirring up a storm in her heart, Duan Muzuying came to her senses at this moment and also sent a message to Lu Hanfei. It was really frustrating back then. But they were the ones who invaded the territory first, and none of the core elders died after that, so she didn't have much hatred in her heart. 22%. Chapter 108 Great Elder, hold back. But don't hurt Mr. Xiao. If nothing happens, let's start now. While Lu Hanfei and Duan Muzuying were communicating, Xiao Chen looked at Duan Muzuying. Then he said in a calm voice, "You are in a very bad situation now. The right lung was severely damaged, and there was terrible fire poison remaining. Although you relied on your cultivation to suppress it, making your condition not look so bad, this is just a sign of the end of your strength. Judging from your current injuries and poisoning, once the demonic flames and fire poison in your body break out again, your foundation will be damaged, and your cultivation will probably drop significantly." Using the identification function and taking a look at Duan Muzuying, Xiao Chen immediately saw through this woman's current situation. Start with just getting started. This woman has been forcibly suppressing her injuries, and now she is probably reaching her limit. What? After hearing what Xiao Chen said, Lu Hanfei and others' expressions changed, and they all looked at Duan Muzuying. They saw that Duan Muzuying was just pale, but she was still a little angry when talking. I thought that the other party's injury was gradually getting better, but didn't expect that the other party was now at the end of his strength. How could you? Poof. Duan Muzuying's pupils shrank when she heard this. She was about to ask how she could see it, but she didn't expect that a violent wave suddenly came from her body. This made Duan Muzuying's body tremble, and a mouthful of blood spurted out on the spot. The demonic flames and poison in the body are beginning to bite back again. Great Elder. Seeing Duan Muzuying spit out a mouthful of black blood, her whole body began to be filled with hot air waves. His face, which was originally as pale as paper, turned red at this moment. This shocked Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying and others. By the way, Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill. Lu Hanfei finally thought of the pill at this time and quickly took out the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill. But just when she was about to give the pill to Duan Muzuying, Xiao Chen's voice sounded faintly again. Her injuries are now worsening and her meridians have been damaged. Now let her take Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill. Once the medicine conflicts with the fire poison in her body, at least 30% of her meridians will be destroyed. After hearing these two words from Xiao Chen, Lu Hanfei's hands suddenly froze. 30% of the meridians were lost. Even if he is lucky enough to recover in the future, his cultivation level will drop significantly. It is not an easy task to return to peak condition. Please help me, Master. Wan Waman will definitely repay you in the future. Li Qingying was the first to react and immediately bowed to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen once said, as long as it is a physical injury, he has the ability to repair it. If Xiao Chen is willing to take action, the Great Elder will be fine. Please take action, Mr. Xiao. Lu Hanfei thought of her own personal experience and pleaded with hope at this time. Well, help me hold her down. Xiao Chen nodded when he heard this and did not pretend to be evasive. This time, he originally wanted to win over the 10,000 Flowers sect. If Duan Muzuying can be captured before the Wanhua sect master appears, the rest of the matter will be basically stable. When Xiao Chen finished speaking, Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying looked ecstatic and immediately gave Duan Muzuying a warning. Great Elder, hold back. Be sure not to hurt young Master Xiao. Duan Muzuying opened her eyes in pain when she heard this. She still couldn't figure out what the two people wanted to do. Li Qingying and Lu Shuifei immediately burst into cultivation. Get out of the way and let me come. But at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. Kaiyan's cultivation exploded at this moment, and she appeared in front of Duan Muzuying like a ghost. He directly forced Li Qingying and Lu Hanfei back. Then he grabbed Duan Muzuying's arm with one hand, pressed the opponent's chest with the other hand, and pushed the opponent directly to the ground. The vast Junyuan suppressed the opponent firmly, making Duan Muzuying widen her eyes. At this time, she forgot to resist. The reason why Kaiyan took action was because she was worried about Lu Hanfei and others. You must know that the demonic flame and fire poison in Duan Muzuying's body comes from the rank 8 peak monster purple-scaled demonic flame dragon. Once it breaks out, it can even obliterate the powerful universal truth realm. Let two people from the middle stage of the celestial human realm suppress this woman. If something unexpected happened, Xiao Chen's life would be in danger. Xiao Chen didn't hesitate at this time, and immediately burst into cultivation and condensed countless runes. A finger was placed on Duan Muzuying's heart, and at the same time, a repair instruction was issued to the system. Ding! The system has deducted 37,000 points and is repairing all injuries and hidden diseases for the character Duan Muzuying. As the system prompt tone fell, a burst of white light also flashed and erupted. Duan Muzuying only felt a mysterious force suddenly pouring into her body, making her whole body feel like she was soaking in the spring of life. All injuries and hidden diseases were recovered in the blink of an eye. That feeling made her scream in surprise, but before she could feel the shock and disbelief, the demonic flames and fire poison in her body completely exploded at this time. A strange flame ignited on her body, burning her clothes to ashes. Let her take Xuanqing's snow lotus pill quickly. Seeing Duan Muzuying's delicate body exposed in the flames, Xiao Chen stood up and said to Lu Hanfei. Only then did Duan Muzuying realize that her delicate body had been exposed. She let out a burst of exclamation and at the same time, she quickly unleashed her cultivation to suppress the fire poison. The Xuanian true essence turned into a thick white mist, enveloping her whole body in it. Lu Hanfei quickly took out the Xuanqing snow lotus pill, wrapped it in real energy and sent it into the white mist. After Duan Muzuying took the elixir, she frantically refined it in the white mist. Where are your sect master and the other elders? Feeling that the fire poison in the white mist had begun to weaken, Xiao Chen turned around and asked Lu Hanfei and others. He also wanted to baptize all the elders quickly, and then find a place to help Kaiyan upgrade her bloodline. As a result, except for Duan Muzuying, no other senior figures from Wanhua sect were seen in the main hall. The sect master suffered backlash because he tried to improve Xuanian Wangyuju and has been in seclusion for more than a year. Second elder Xu Danqing guards the Wanwaman treasure house and usually won't go out unless there is anything important. Third elder Michelle Yeoh has great medical attainments. Now she should be in the alchemy pavilion to find a way to treat the first elder. As for the sixth elder Yun Zhiro, there is also the seventh elder Li Mengru. They went to Shiwanda Mountain together and seemed to have discovered some kind of secret, so they are currently not at Wanwaman. After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying complimented each other, which made Xiao Chen feel a little speechless. Either in retreat or refining medicine. Either they guard the important areas of the sect, or they are not in Wanwaman. His trip seemed to be a bit unlucky. It seemed that he couldn't capture them all at once. Zuying, I finally found a way to suppress the fire poison in your body. Just when Xiao Chen felt depressed, a soft voice came. A figure rushed into Baihua Pavilion excitedly like an afterimage. But when she saw so many people in the hall, she was immediately stunned. Obviously I don't understand, why is the Baihua Pavilion hall so lively today? When Xiao Chen saw this person, he couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. This woman in front of me. A tight-fitting purple dress outlines the perfect curves of her voluptuous and plump figure, and the huge breasts seem to be about to burst out under the clothes. The absolutely beautiful and picturesque face looks a bit pure and charming at the same time. Especially paired with a red mole between the eyebrows and a white-haired ponytail tied into a hemp flower, it looks really unique. This person is none other than Michelle Yeoh, the third elder of Wanhua sect, whose cultivation has reached the 6th level of heaven and human. Image of Michelle Yeoh, the third elder of Wanwaman. 23%. Chapter 109 Personal Experience. Do you want to take off my clothes in public? Hiss.man. When Xiao Chen looked at each other, Michelle Yeoh looked at Xiao Chen blankly. After a moment of silence, Michelle Yeoh looked surprised, as if she had seen something rare, and her words were a bit unbelievable. How could a man appear in Baihua Pavilion, and he looks so young and handsome? Could it be that the great elder's idea coincides with mine, and he also thinks that men can be used to transfer fire poison? This statement was so shocking that everyone on the spot was dumbfounded. What kind of treatment is using men to transfer fire poison? Hey, Han Fei, Qing Ying, you are back. Did you bring back the Xuanqing snow lotus pill? When Xiao Chen and others were confused, Michelle Yeoh ran over excitedly when she saw Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying. However, Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying took a few steps back without leaving any trace, as if they remembered something. Let's talk about the 10,000 Flowers Gate. What they were most afraid of was not the sect master and the first elder, but the seemingly harmless third elder in front of them. Originally, Michelle Yeoh was relatively normal at first and only occasionally studied medicine and alchemy. However, when the cultivation reaches the 6th level of heaven and human, it is difficult to make progress due to the limitations of natural talents. Michelle Yeoh became crazy and obsessed with evil practices, and even the medical knowledge she originally learned began to go astray. Because I like to tinker with gadgets to see if I can break my own talents. So they were often secretly tested for medicine. Although the medicine was not poisonous enough to kill them, it made them weak several times. This made Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying and others very angry, but they couldn't beat the opponent because they were not strong enough, so they could only stay as far away from this woman as possible. Be careful not to be secretly drugged by this woman without knowing it. Well, I brought it back. As his thoughts were turning, Lu Hanfei nodded and pointed at the white mist. Under young Master Xiao's treatment, senior sister Zuying's injuries have been completely healed and she is refining the Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill to suppress the fire poison. What? Completely healed? After hearing Lu Hanfei's words, Michelle Yeoh looked in disbelief and immediately ran over to sense Duanmu Zuying's aura fluctuations. I found that the other party's vitality was extremely majestic, and he didn't look like he had been injured at all. Even the aura of demonic flames and fire poison is rapidly weakening. It seems that it won't take too long for it to be refined by Duanmu Zuying. This made Michelle Yeoh take a deep breath. It's incredible. She came to see Duanmu Zuying early this morning. Her injuries had deteriorated very seriously, and there were signs that the demonic flames and fire poison were about to break out. After she helped the other party suppress it again, she returned to the Dan Pavilion to look up ancient books and come up with ideas. Unexpectedly, in just half a day, Duanmu Zuying not only recovered from her injuries, but she could also easily suppress and refine the fire poison. How did you do that? After sensing Duanmu Zuying's condition, Michelle Yeoh suddenly raised her head and looked at Lu Hanfei and others. His eyes fell on Xiao Chen and he rushed over in an instant. But before she could get close to Xiao Chen, Qian reached out to stop her. A strong man in the 9th level of heaven and man. Feeling the vague and terrifying energy in Qian, Michelle Yeoh stared at Qian solemnly, and then looked at Lu Hanfei with doubts. 15 years ago, she didn't go with him to the endless desert, and she didn't recognize Qian right away. She is Queen Medusa of the Snake Tribe, the beauty of Mr. Xiao, and the benefactor of our group. Without her, we might have perished in the Kang Cloud Mountain vein, so I ask senior sister not to provoke her. When Michelle Yeoh looked over, Lu Hanfei quickly sent a message to the other party. These words, Michelle Yeoh's pupils shrank again, with a look of disbelief on her face. Unexpectedly, Queen Medusa of the Snake Tribe would appear in the 10,000 Flowers Gate and turn into a human form. What's even more outrageous is, the other party actually has a man, and he is also a young man. I don't mean any harm, I just want to ask him, how did he heal senior sister Shui's injury? Seeing Qian staring at her indifferently, Michelle Yeoh said awkwardly at this time. Mr. Xiao is a master of wonderful medicine. He has incredible abilities. He can repair any injury with just a few clicks. Qian didn't answer when she heard this. Li Qingying on the side suddenly replied, leaving Michelle Yeoh stunned on the spot. With just a few clicks, can any injury be repaired? How can this be? Michelle Yeoh stared at Li Qingying in disbelief, as if she didn't think I was just trying to fool me. In this world, how can anyone heal any injury with just a few clicks? Unless the opponent is a strong medical expert above Saint Realm, he may still have such incredible abilities. But how could a boy who looked about 18 years old have such incredible abilities, unless the other person was an old monster from Saint Realm in disguise? If Elder Yang doesn't believe it, you can experience it for yourself. Seeing the disbelief on Michelle Yeoh's face, Xiao Chen thought this was a good breakthrough. He immediately smiled and said, first-hand experience. Michelle Yeoh was slightly startled when she heard this, then glanced at Bai Wu, and her eyes became wary. You want to take off my clothes in public? With her terrifying eyesight as a celestial human realm powerhouse, she was able to sense Duanmu Zuying's condition just now when she was close to Bai Wu. She looked straight through the white mist and discovered that Duanmu Zuying was naked. I thought it was the same method as she guessed, but I didn't expect that the other party didn't lose her virginity. But no matter what, since it was this man who cured Duanmu Zuying, there was a high probability that the other party was responsible for this matter. Quote. When Xiao Chen heard this, he twitched the corner of his mouth slightly and fell silent immediately. Senior sister Zuying's clothes were burned by the poison of demonic flames. You don't need to take off the client's clothes when you treat her. After hearing this, Lu Hanfei proved Xiao Chen's innocence, and then said to Michelle Yeoh in a cautious voice. Young master can not only repair the external injuries on the body, but also repair the hidden diseases in the body that are difficult to recover from, including the various hidden diseases left behind by the backlash of Yin Qi in our 10,000 Flowers sect. Junior sister Qingying, and they have all experienced this. What? After hearing Lu Hanfei's words, Michelle Yeoh's expression suddenly changed. The figure was like a ghost, rushing in front of Lu Hanfei in an instant, pressing his right hand directly on the opponent's abdomen. This situation also made Lu Hanfei's expression change. Hiss, the inner wall of the palace is intact as before, just like when a girl was pregnant, and it still contains majestic vitality. You have regained your fertility and will even have your period in 3 days. After finding out Lu Hanfei's physical condition, Michelle Yeoh's face was full of disbelief. As the elders of Wanhua sect, they are all strong men who have practiced for 100 or 200 years. They have been through menopause for nearly 100 years. Even if she came up with many folk remedies, they could only alleviate the side effects a little. But the problem that once left her helpless was now cured by a young man. This is impossible. It's too unreasonable. After muttering in disbelief, Michelle Yeoh's figure kept flashing in the hall, and then checked Li Qingying, Han Xinyue and others. In the end, it was determined that all the palaces except for these women from the Wanhua sect had been restored. There was a storm in her heart at this moment, and she had to believe what Lu Hanfei said just now. The young man in front of me is really a wonderful doctor. Now. Do you believe it? Seeing Michelle Yeoh's face being subverted, Xiao Chen said with a faint smile. If nothing else, this woman can be captured by him. But after this sentence fell, Michelle Yeoh's next move not only stunned Xiao Chen on the spot, but also confused Lu Hanfei and others. 23%. Chapter 110 Young Master, please accept me as your disciple, I am good at attacking the master. Master, please bow to me, my disciple. In the eyes of Xiao Chen, Lu Hanfei and others, Michelle Yeoh knelt down in front of Xiao Chen. He bowed directly to Xiao Chen, and his movements were so big that his clothes almost burst. Master. Hearing Michelle Yeoh's name and seeing the other party's actions, it was not only Xiao Chen who was confused. Even Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying and others were collectively confused at this moment. Senior sister, what are you doing? You already have a teacher, get up quickly. Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying were the first to come to their senses at this time, and quickly ran over to pull Michelle Yeoh up. Michelle Yeoh is their senior sister, how can she take the young master as her teacher? Will there be no messing around with status in the future? No, today I must worship him as my teacher. Michelle Yeoh threw away Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying, looking determined to become Xiao Chen's teacher. The old master has passed away many years ago. She was the first master in my life and the pioneer who taught me how to practice. But I have been obsessed with medicine and alchemy all my life, and I am determined to worship a medical saint as my teacher. Although Mr. Xiao is younger than me, he has such medical skills. If I can become my teacher, it will make me shine for the rest of my life. After hearing Michelle Yeoh's words, both Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying twitched the corners of their mouths slightly. This woman. Has made her old habit again. People from Wanhua sect practice Xuanian Wangyu Ju. The more advanced they are, the colder their temperament will become. But this woman was an accident. Ever since I became obsessed with medicine and alchemy, and then experimented with medicine on my own, my mind sometimes became very immature. Sometimes he is as stubborn as a donkey, which gives the elders a headache. Only the sect leader and the great elder can control each other. Ahem, Elder Yang, please get up first. I won't accept you as my disciple. Seeing the dramatic scene in front of him, Xiao Chen coughed and refused directly. Although Michelle Yeoh's last 2 sentences made him feel a little elated. But his ability to repair comes from the system. You can just pretend to be awesome yourself, but you can't teach others. Why? After being rejected by Xiao Chen, Michelle Yeoh raised her head sharply. Pointing directly at Qian on the side, he said with a bit of indignation. I am a strong man in the 6th level of heaven and human realm. Although my combat power is not as good as this guy's, I can at least go through fire and water for you. As she said that, Michelle Yeoh seemed to have thought of something, and she straightened her head proudly. His fingers slid down from his neck, and a seductive look appeared on his face. The most important is, I have fair skin, good looks, and a hot figure. I even have a little hobby of F-king my master. As long as the master accepts me as his disciple, I promise to. Sister, you've had enough. Before Michelle Yeoh finished speaking, Lu Hanfei forcibly covered her mouth and pulled her up from the ground. Li Qingying, Nangong Jing and others on the side covered their heads when they saw this. It's so embarrassing. After being rejected as a disciple, you actually want to seduce someone. Mr. Xiao has many beautiful women around him, how could he lose his mind because of this kind of temptation? Kyan on the side also frowned slightly. Even she didn't expect that this woman would dare to openly seduce Xiao Chen in front of her. Elder Yang, it's not that I don't want to accept you as my disciple, but this ability requires innate Dao body to have any chance of successful cultivation. Looking at Michelle Yeoh's exaggerated figure, Xiao Chen coughed and made it up. Innate Dao body. However, a special physique that is rare in thousands of years will never appear twice in almost the same era. His answer was enough to make Michelle Yeoh give up. Innate Dao body. Hear Xiao Chen's words. Michelle Yeoh, Lu Hanfei and others looked shocked, and they all looked at Xiao Chen in disbelief. This is a special physique recorded in ancient books. Everyone can be said to be God's darling, and he is born to be in perfect harmony with the aura of heaven and earth. No matter what you practice, it has great advantages. If they have the right skills and resources to support them, it will be easy for them to break through to the Saint Realm, and even the legendary Emperor Realm may be within reach. Unexpectedly, if you want to practice Xiao Chen's medical skills, you need this special physique as a prerequisite. This is simply outrageous, opening the door to outrageousness. It's so outrageous. No, if young Master Xiao says this, it proves that young Master is innate Dao body. After realizing this possibility, Lu Hanfei, Nangong Jing and others looked shocked. No wonder the young Master was able to break through to the Grotto Heaven realm at the age of 18. It turns out that he has such a terrifying special physique. You actually need to innate Dao body to practice. Michelle Yeoh murmured with disappointment, how many people can satisfy such perverted demands? But in the next moment, as if something had occurred to her, Michelle Yeoh ran over and stared at Xiao Chen with excitement on her face. Sir, if that's the case, are you innate Dao body? Looking around Xiao Chen, he seemed to have thought of something, and his expression became more and more excited. It is recorded in ancient books. Innate Dao body can be said to be the son of heaven. It will be protected by heaven in the dark, and the essence of flesh and blood contains Dao rhyme. However, if ordinary people want to eat its flesh and blood, not only will they not be able to absorb this Dao rhyme, but they will be rejected by the world and be infected with some unknown power. But if you use the method of blending yin and yang, you can withstand the baptism of Dao rhyme in dual cultivation. As these words fell, Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying and others were stunned, and even Xiao Chen himself felt a little confused. Is innate Dao body so awesome? Drinking its flesh and blood will be infected with an unknown power, but practicing with it can be baptized by Dao rhyme. This person recorded in ancient books. Could it be an innate Dao body? Senior sister, you mean as long as you cultivate with the young master and accept the baptism of the young master, you can break the limitations of your talent and reach a higher level of cultivation. When Michelle Yeoh stared at Xiao Chen with burning eyes, Li Qingying came back to her senses and asked with some uncertainty. Isn't this the perfect furnace for female cultivators? Yes, that's what is recorded in ancient books, but whether it is exactly the same, you have to practice it to know. Michelle Yeoh said excitedly when she heard this, and even showed a desire for knowledge on her face. It seems that he and Xiao Chen really want to mate with each other. No, let's do dual cultivation together so that we can study whether what is recorded in the ancient books is true. And as these words fell, the way Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying and others looked at Xiao Chen changed somewhat at this moment. It seems that he is also guessing the reliability of Michelle Yeoh's words. This scene made Kyan and Marong Qingshe feel a great sense of crisis. Elder Yang. Do you want to repair the hidden disease in your body? Seeing that the eyes of Michelle Yeoh, Lu Hanfei and others were almost turning into those of horny girls, Xiao Chen coughed dryly and couldn't help but remind them. Yes, I want it. Xiao Chen's words had just finished, and Michelle Yeoh quickly replied at this time. Do you need to take off your clothes? But there are a lot of people here, why not go to my residence? After saying that, Michelle Yeoh stared at Xiao Chen with burning eyes, as if she wanted to eat him. Xiao Chen's face was full of black lines when he heard this. Isn't this woman already menopausal and no longer interested in men? Why didn't he feel it at all? 23%. Chapter 111 Young Master, please respect yourself, this little girl is a girl from a good family. You woman. Are so shameless. When Xiao Chen looked helpless, Kai Yan couldn't help but said. For seducing the young master like this in front of her, this woman is definitely her enemy. If the young master can't stand the temptation and is really succeeded by this woman, wouldn't she have another sister? It is human nature for a man to love a woman. As long as the young master likes it, I can do it in any position. After hearing Kyan's words, Michelle Yeoh licked her lips and gave an astonishing reply. The fall of this sentence. Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying and others' eyes widened, and even Nangong Jing, Li Wanqing and others felt that their faith was about to collapse. Is this still the elder of Wanwaman? Why is it like a demon's lustful girl? Thanks to the pure aura of Michelle Yeoh's primordial yin, she doesn't usually give men any good looks. Otherwise, they would all think Michelle Yeoh is a slutty woman. If Elder Yang doesn't mind, let's hold the ceremony in this hall. It just so happens that there are more people here and it will be more lively. Seeing Michelle Yeoh's arrogance, Xiao Chen couldn't bear it at this moment. He smiled lightly and walked towards Michelle Yeoh. It looked like he really wanted to reach out and untie the other person's clothes. Xiao Chen's response made everyone dumbfounded. Young master, are you no longer pretending? You actually want to fight Michelle Yeoh directly in front of such a large public? Seeing that Xiao Chen seemed to be serious, Michelle Yeoh couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. Until Xiao Chen walked up to her, reached out to grab her proud parts, and planned to tear off her clothes. Michelle Yeoh was so frightened that she screamed and hid far away. Master, please respect yourself. My little girl is a girl from a good family. It would be too abrupt for you to be so direct. Looking at Michelle Yeoh, who had stepped out 2 feet away, her expression became a little cold, as if she was a different person. Everyone present could not help but be speechless. This woman's mind really is that of a little girl, not like an old monster at all. You were the one who teased me first, and now I want to satisfy you, but it's me who is being rude. Seeing Michelle Yeoh frightened by him, Xiao Chen's mouth curved slightly, and then he continued in a calm voice. I don't have that much time to waste with you. If you want to cure a hidden disease in your body, I will do it if you provide me with resources. If you don't want to, I will go back and rest. Young master, you really don't need to be teased. Seeing that Xiao Chen had no intention of messing around with her, Michelle Yeoh couldn't help but muttered, and then took off a space ring from her hand. My net worth is not as rich as those of my junior sisters. Please don't dislike me, sir. While talking, Michelle Yeoh raised her hand and waved lightly, and Naji floated over. Xiao Chen took the Naji, his soul thought immediately penetrated inside, and various items were displayed in front of him. There are indeed a lot less spiritual crystals than Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying and others. It seems to be less than 200,000, but there are all other resources and items. For example, monster materials, various precious spirit medicines, and even poison pills and waste pills. These are much more than Lu Hanfei and others. I bet this woman spent her spiritual crystals on researching medicine. But these things seem to be more useful to him. After a brief classification, Xiao Chen kept some strange elixirs and then issued recycling instructions to the system. Ding! The system has recovered all designated items. Congratulations to the host for earning 162,865 points. Xiao Chen's eyes lit up slightly when he heard the system prompt. Excluding the points that were eliminated for Duan Muzuying just now, his points at this time have reached 1.71 million. This value is simply unimaginable. As the young master dissatisfied with the little girl's net worth. If you are not satisfied, the little lady can. Seeing Xiao Chen staring at Najia for a long time, Michelle Yeoh's eyes flickered slightly, and she couldn't help but want to tease Xiao Chen. But before she finished speaking, she was interrupted by Xiao Chen. Very satisfied, Xiao Chen glanced at Michelle Yeoh, who wanted to be a monster again, then raised his hand and exploded with cultivation, looking around with runes one by one. Relax, don't dodge, and don't act rashly. As the words fell, Xiao Shou made a strange seal with one hand and pressed it directly to Michelle Yeoh's lower abdomen. What a mysterious talisman, literary aura, is this the innate Dao body? After feeling the aura on Xiao Chen's body, Michelle Yeoh couldn't help but widen her eyes. She didn't dodge or defend, so she let Xiao Chen press her belly. Ding! The system has deducted 37,000 points and is repairing all injuries and hidden diseases for the character Michelle Yeoh. As the system prompt tone fell, a burst of white light also flashed and erupted. Like Duan Muzuying and others, Michelle Yeoh couldn't help but exclaim, and the hidden illness in her body was instantly repaired. Is there really such a miraculous treatment method in this world? Feeling the transformation of various functions of the body, the palace bursts into unprecedented vitality like a dead tree blooming with spring. Michelle Yeoh's little mouth couldn't help but open, her face full of shock and disbelief. That's it. Feeling that the system repair was completed, Xiao Chen retracted his palm. But right now, there was a sudden violent fluctuation in Michelle Yeoh's body, and her cultivation aura broke through a certain bottleneck at this moment, directly breaking through from the 6th level of heaven to the 7th level of heaven and human. Senior sister has a breakthrough. Seeing this scene in front of them, Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying and others looked shocked, and they all looked like they couldn't believe it. Why did their cultivation level not break through the bottleneck after being treated? But Michelle Yeoh broke through on the spot. Could it be that Michelle Yeoh is more proactive, and the young master is secretly giving her a small start? In this confusion, Lu Hanfei and others looked at Xiao Chen, their eyes flickering slightly. You don't have to look at me. The reason why she broke through the cultivation level at this time is because there is a large amount of medicinal power accumulated in her body. After I repaired her hidden disease, these medicinal powers were activated together. In addition, her cultivation level has reached the peak of the 6th level of heaven and human realm, so it is only natural that she will break through her cultivation level at this time. Seeing something strange in the eyes of Lu Hanfei and others, they all seemed to want to seduce him. Xiao Chen waved his hand and said calmly, "Amazing. Sir, is there really no way for me to learn this ability?" Not long after Xiao Chen's words fell, Michelle Yeoh also completed a breakthrough at this time and felt the changes in her body and cultivation. She rushed to Xiao Chen with excitement on her face, her eyes already filled with a hint of fanaticism. In a moment, he can cure all the hidden diseases of a celestial human realm expert. Even a saint realm medical expert has this terrifying ability. There is absolutely no way it can be done to this extent. But Xiao Chen's cultivation talent Grotto Heaven Realm can turn decay into magic. Is this mysterious ability that can only be cultivated by the innate Tao body so terrifying? For a medical enthusiast like her, it is simply unspeakably attractive. No, Xiao Chen refused without thinking. Can the young master teach me some other medical knowledge? Zaichang is willing to follow the young master from now on. As long as the young master orders it, Zaichang will satisfy it. As she spoke, Michelle Yeoh puffed out her chest and revealed a charming look in her eyes. Even if the young master wants to do what he just did, Zaichang can satisfy him to his heart's content. If you say just now, Michelle Yeoh was just teasing Xiao Chen, so now Michelle Yeoh is serious about it. A handsome young man with an innate Tao body, coupled with this magical medical skill, has aroused her curiosity and desire to conquer. Even as the hidden illness in the body was repaired, the palace also regained its vitality. She once again felt the lust she had felt when she was a girl, before she entered the 10,000 Flowers Gate. So when she meets an outstanding man who can make her curious and excited, even if the two men have a big difference in cultivation and experience, Michelle Yeoh doesn't mind putting down her body and leaning towards him. Because she had a strong feeling. If you accidentally miss this young man in front of you, you will definitely spend every day in regret for the rest of your life. 23%. Chapter 112. No matter which woman wants to cheat, how should the nightlife be distributed in the future? You want to play with fire again. Seeing Michelle Yeoh's proud body that was about to stick to his body, Xiao Chen couldn't help but take a deep breath and warned the woman with some toothache. This woman, do you really think he doesn't dare to come? If you provoke him like this again, don't blame him for concocting it in public. Sister, please respect yourself. Wanhua sect strictly prohibits love between men and women. Aren't you afraid of being punished by the sect leader? Seeing Michelle Yeoh acting so willfully, Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying couldn't help it. The third elder of the dignified Wanhua sect openly courted a young master. This word spreads. How will they restrain their disciples from now on, to keep a strict distance from men, and not to violate the Wanhua sect's rules? Stop bluffing me with this. Hearing the words of Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying, Michelle Yeoh rolled her eyes at this time. The reason why Wanhuaman strictly prohibits disciples from touching men is because practicing Xuanian Wangyuju will cause backlash from yin qi. It will cause women to gradually lose their fertility and lose their desire for love between men and women. As a result, you will lose feeling for your partner, causing both lovers to break up. Quote. Besides, if a woman's primordial yin has not been broken, she will have a natural advantage in practicing Xuanian Wangyuju. And the disciples of Wanhua sect practice Xuanian Wangyuju. Primordial yin can increase the cultivation level for ordinary people. It is easy for hypocrites to defraud money and sex. That's why the successive sect leaders of Wanhua sect have strictly prohibited their disciples from being emotional, in order to avoid tragedies. Saying that, Michelle Yeoh glanced at Lu Hanfei and others, then continued in a low voice. But this shouldn't ruin the lives of Wanhua sect disciples. Hearing Michelle Yeoh's last words, Lu Hanfei and others trembled, looking at Michelle Yeoh in disbelief. Obviously didn't expect this somewhat crooked senior sister would say such treacherous words. If the old sect master heard this, he would be so angry that he would lift the coffin board and give the other party 2 big dicks. What I said may be a bit rebellious, but you should have thought about it in your heart. Seeing the shocked expressions on Lu Hanfei and others' faces, Michelle Yeoh stared at Xiao Chen feverishly again. Since young master can repair our bodies, we can avoid the pain of yin qi backlash and can have children like other women. That is to say, as long as the young master is here, we are no different from normal women and no longer have to suppress our emotions. If we meet a man who can make our heart beat, we shouldn't have regrets for the rest of our lives. Boom. After hearing Michelle Yeoh's words, there was a roar in the minds of Lu Hanfei and others. Everyone looked at Michelle Yeoh with wide eyes. This is indeed true. If they are no different from normal women, they should be able to have feelings between men and women. Instead of closing yourself off and completely severing the relationship between men and women. Although they have practiced for more than 100 years, their cultivation has reached the astonishing celestial human realm, reaching heights that ordinary people cannot reach. But when it comes to the relationship between men and women, they are not even as good as ordinary people. It is completely blank, and there will be regrets after death. When this thought fell, whether it was Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying, or Nangong Jing and others, their beliefs began to waver. If this sect rule can be broken, then between them and Mr. Xiao. Isn't it also possible? After thinking about this, Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying and others also looked at Xiao Chen, with a flash of heat in their eyes. Feeling the changes in the women around him, Xiao Chen couldn't help but feel speechless at this moment. Was there any mistake? These women originally wanted to condemn Michelle Yeoh, but now after being bullied by the other party, they are all targeting him instead. I bet he, Tang Monk, fell into the kingdom of daughters. Are you ready to never come back? Kai Yan and Marong Qingshe on the side felt a little dizzy when they saw this scene. The young master is really a sweetheart. No matter which girl wants to cheat, how should the nightlife be distributed in the future? Looking at the looks in your eyes, you all want to swallow the young master on the spot. How dare you say that senior sister has no respect for herself? Seeing Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying and others secretly glancing at Xiao Chen, Michelle Yeoh couldn't help but sneered. Lu Hanfei and others were immediately embarrassed. They did have a good impression of Xiao Chen, but it was too embarrassing to say it like this. Sir, what do you think? Seeing that Xiao Chen couldn't resist, Michelle Yeoh said more and more provocatively. Although the little girl is older than the young master, she is still a virgin so far, and she will definitely guard her virginity for the young master from now on. And, if the young master is not satisfied with me alone, I can bring my junior sister with me. If the young master can get our primordial yin, his cultivation will be able to improve by leaps and bounds in a short period of time. Hiss. After hearing Michelle Yeoh's shocking words, Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying and others were all shocked. This woman really dares to say anything, and she can compete with those lustful women from the demon sect. When Xiao Chen heard this, he couldn't help but take a deep breath, and his originally indifferent expression showed a touch of heartbeat. What this woman said seems to make sense. These women from Wanwaman are all celestial human realm powerhouses, and all of them have rare body of pure yin. If these women are willing to sacrifice themselves, his cultivation will indeed improve by leaps and bounds. It is this kind of shortcut approach that is easily spurned by righteous singles. Zichen, you are really getting more and more arrogant. How dare you say such things? Just when Michelle Yeoh finished speaking, Xiao Chen was about to speak. A cold voice suddenly echoed. Duanmu Zuying, who was originally wrapped in white mist, had already refined the demonic flames and fire poison, and even put on a new set of clothes. Senior sister Zuying. Hearing these words, Michelle Yeoh's expression froze and she turned back angrily. He found that Duanmu Zuying had a cold face and stared at her with some evil eyes. Do you want to spend a few days thinking about the cliff face? Although she was refining Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill just now, she could still sense all the movements in the outside world. She didn't expect Michelle Yeoh to be so reckless. Not only did he directly seduce Mr. Xiao in front of his disciples and outsiders. He even told a lot of lies, trying to drag Lu Hanfei and others into the water, using beauty and primordial yin to seduce them. It's simply lawless. Zuying has misbehaved and made Mr. Xiao laugh. After reprimanding Michelle Yeoh, Duanmu Zuying cupped her fists at Xiao Chen, and then took off a ring from her hand. Young master has just been kind to Zuying. This is Zuying's kindness. Please don't dislike it. With that said, Duan Muzuying gently raised her hand, and Naji floated towards Xiao Chen. Great Elder, you're welcome. Xiao Chen's eyes lit up slightly when he heard this, and he immediately reached out to take the ring. Although Michelle Yeoh's net worth just now has allowed him to make a lot of money, who can have too much resources? Not to mention, it seems reasonable to receive a reward for treating one person. HMPH, your body was exposed by Mr. Xiao just now. I don't believe it. You don't want Mr. Xiao to be responsible. It seemed that she thought that her cultivation level had reached the 7th level of heaven and human beings, and Duan Muzuying was only a small level above her now. It seemed that she could no longer spank her as before. Michelle Yeoh felt confident at this moment, so she couldn't help but murmured in a low voice. Although the words were not loud, everyone heard them. Immediately, Duan Muzuying's expression froze slightly, and a blush appeared on her face for the first time. She was indeed a little concerned about having her body exposed by Xiao Chen. But now that Michelle Yeoh has pointed it out, I still feel an unspeakable shame, as if my inner thoughts have been poked. This made Duan Muzuying very angry. Michelle Yeoh, are you drifting? I really thought this elder wouldn't. Duan Muzuying turned around, stared at Michelle Yeoh unbearably, and scolded her. But before she could finish her words, a roar came from outside the hall. A violent voice also echoed in the void. 23%. Chapter 113. It seems that you are not so big-hearted and brainless. Old women from Wanwaman, come out and pay for my son's body. Hearing these violent words, everyone in the hall looked up and looked outside, and the expressions of Duan Muzuying and others changed even more. This is Duan Yantian's voice. After identifying the owner of this voice, Duan Muzuying, Michelle Yeoh and others' pupils shrank, and even Kyan was boiling with murderous intent at this moment. Apparently she heard it. This was the person who attacked her in the endless desert some time ago. Don't go out yet. Just when Duan Muzuying and others were about to rush out of the hall with their cultivation, Xiao Chen suddenly shouted in a low voice. This made Duan Muzuying and others pause, and they all looked over with puzzled expressions. Others came knocking on the door. Why doesn't young Master Xiao let them out? Now Wanwaman is guarded by the mountain guard formation. They won't be able to break through the formation for a while. You don't have to worry about the disciples being in danger. Walk to the entrance of Baihua Pavilion main hall. Looking at the heavenly rank formation light curtain covering the entire Wanhua Gate, it was bearing the crazy attacks from Duan Yantian and his group. Xiao Chen's expression was indifferent, and then he continued to explain. The people from Burning Flame Valley have just ambushed us before, with the death of 2 heavenly elders. Instead of staying in the Burning Flame Valley and making perfect plans, I can't wait to open the 10,000 Flowers Gate. In addition to eagerly obtaining the Xuanqing Snow Lotus Pill, I am also determined that many elders in the Wanhua sect should be hit hard. That's why they have the courage to attack Wanwaman directly. And you guys rushed out like this. When they see that you guys are not injured, maybe the whole group will turn around and run away. After hearing what Xiao Chen said, Duan Muzuying, Michelle Yeoh, and the others seemed to realize something at this moment, and they all looked at Xiao Chen in disbelief. Young Master means, you want us to catch turtles in an urn, and then catch them off guard, or even kill them here. After all, he is a person who has lived for more than 100 years. After being reminded by Xiao Chen's few words, Duan Muzuying and others all thought of this possibility. It seems you are not so big-hearted and brainless. After seeing Duan Muzuying and others react immediately, Xiao Chen immediately showed a cowardly expression, which made Duan Muzuying and others look a little embarrassed. But half of what Xiao Chen said was true. After all, they all had big breasts. But young master, Duan Yantian is a strong man in the 9th level of celestial human realm, and there are several celestial human realm elders around him. With our strength, it is difficult to kill him completely. With a thought, Duan Muzuying frowned and said in a worried voice. Now her sister is in seclusion, and it is difficult to sense the movement of the outside world. Even if the opponent breaks through, his own condition is not at its peak due to the backlash from his technique. And if Duan Yantian dares to attack Wanwaman, he must have someone to rely on. Therefore, it is difficult for them to keep each other alone. It doesn't matter, I will take action. You just need to contain the other minions and hand over the one named Duan Yantian to me. When Duan Muzuying finished speaking, Kyan on the side suddenly opened her eyes and spoke with a somewhat solemn voice. What? This sentence startled Duan Muzuying and others, and they all looked at Kyan in disbelief. When did Queen Medusa become so warm-hearted? Could it be that Duan Yantian has a grudge against her? For the sake of my predestined relationship with you, my master, next time, even if you are severely injured in the fight, as long as your head is not chopped off on the spot, I can help you recover. Seeing that Kyan hated Duan Yantian so much that her teeth itched with hatred, Xiao Chen also added with a slight smile. This is a great opportunity to win over people's hearts, destroy the burning flame valley, and gather resources. With his words, the combat effectiveness of these women will be doubled, and their fighting style without fear of injury will make them invincible. Thank you, sir. After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Duan Muzuiying and others took a deep breath, with murderous intent flowing in their eyes. When high-level martial artists fight, their biggest fear is getting hurt. Because once injured, ordinary spirit communication medicine is difficult to treat, and may even cause a decline in cultivation level. Therefore, if it is not a blood feud, most of the fights between high-level strong men are mainly about saving lives. But now, with the miraculous Dr. Gongzi here, as long as they don't die on the spot, they can all recover as before. With no more worries, it's time to put an end to the past grudges with Burning Flame Valley. Are all the girls from Wanwaman dead? If you dare to kill my son Duan Haoming, I want you to become slaves and use your humble bodies to atone for the sins of my son, Hongyun and the others. Boom. When Duan Yantian's words echoed in Wanhua Gate again, the sky above Wanhua Gate turned into a sea of red fire. The terrifying divine ability attack hit the mountain guarding formation, causing the entire formation's light curtain to tremble crazily. Countless disciples of Wanhua sect looked up at this scene, their faces turned pale with fright. The power of the powerful celestial human realm is like a natural disaster. This terrifying power would be almost impossible for others to resist unless they were also strong in the celestial human realm. Duan Yantian, you openly offended my Wanhua sect. Do you really think that my Wanhua sect is just a bunch of girls who can be easily bullied? Just when the entire Wanwaman formation was crumbling, a cold voice echoed between heaven and earth. A white-haired figure was surrounded by sword energy and soared directly into the sky amid thousands of dancing flowers. This person is none other than the second elder of Wanhua sect, Shu Danqing, whose cultivation has reached the astonishing 7th level of heaven and human. Seeing Duan Yantian being so arrogant, she finally couldn't sit still in the Myriad Treasures Pavilion. Image of Shu Danqing, the second elder of Wanwaman. Its senior sister Danqing. In front of Baihua Pavilion, Lu Hanfei, Li Qingying and others exclaimed when they saw the figure in white standing in the sky. Hanfei, Qingying, you two go up to raid the formation first, so that Duan Yantian and others can relax their guard. Then I will weaken the protective formation through the formation disc, allowing Duan Yantian and others to break through the formation and enter the mountain gate. After that, Zaichang, Miss Mei, Kyan, we will take action together. Xin Yu, Nangong Jing and others are going to join forces with other elders and gather the disciples of the sect to be ready to form the 10,000 Flowers death-killing formation at any time. When Lu Hanfei and others exclaimed, Duan Muzuiying glanced at the sky, and then issued a series of instructions. Yes, great elder. After hearing Duan Muzuiying's decision, Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying looked at each other and immediately flew towards the void. Han Xinyue, Nangong Jing and others also took orders to gather the disciples. In front of Baihua Pavilion, only Duan Muzuiying, Michelle Yeoh and Xiao Chen were left. Sir, when the fight actually starts, you and this girl will stay in Baihua Pavilion. There is a formation guarding the Baihua Pavilion, so the fighting will not spread here. After taking a look at the sky, Duan Muzuiying warned. Do not worry. Although I only have Grotto Heaven Realm cultivation, my strength is not as weak as you think. Xiao Chen waved his hand upon hearing this and immediately responded with a slight smile. Although he is a freeloader, he is still a monster and a genius. Although there is no way to participate in the fight between high-level strong men now, it is not that easy for ordinary high-level strong men to kill him. 24%. Chapter 114 Senior Sister, please be patient, everything is under control. Above the void. Shu Danqing crazily activated her cultivation, and the true energy was poured into the formation like a torrent. Trying to do his best to block Duan Yantian and others. Senior sister, we are here to help you. When Shu Danqing was wondering where the elders of Wanhua clan were going, Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying also flew over at this time. It's just that the cultivation auras of the two of them seemed a bit superficial at this time. It seemed as if they had experienced a tragic battle not long ago. What's going on with you two? Why didn't you show up until now? Where are the great elder, Zaichang and the others? Seeing the weak looks of Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying, Xu Danqing couldn't help but shout out. She remains at the Myriad Treasures Pavilion. She did not know that Duan Muzuying was injured by the purple-scaled demonic flame dragon. Seeing Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying like this, she couldn't help but have an ominous premonition in her heart. The Great Elder was injured by the rank 8 peak monster purple-scale demonic flame Jiao some time ago. He needs the Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill to suppress the demonic flame poison of the purple-scale demonic flame Jiao. So we sent Nangong Jing and others to Tiandu City to auction the Xuanqing Snow Lotus pill. Unexpectedly, on the way back to Wanhua Gate, we were ambushed by the beasts from Fenyan Valley. Seeing that there was no way to escape, senior sister Zaichong sacrificed herself and died together with Hongyun and Heian by self-destruction. But by the time we desperately returned to the sect, the Great Elder's injury had worsened. After hearing Xu Danqing's words, Lu Hanfei looked sad and immediately explained to Xu Danqing. Although the sound was not very loud, it was enough to penetrate the formation light curtain and reach the ears of Duan Yantian and others. What? When Xu Danqing heard this, her expression suddenly changed. She obviously did not expect that such a shocking incident would happen in the Wanhua Gate when she was guarding the Myriad Treasures Pavilion. The sect owner has been in seclusion for more than a year and there is no sign of coming out. The Great Elder suffered a heavy blow at this time, and even caused the death of junior sister Zaichong. The number of top experts was suddenly reduced by 3. No wonder these beasts from Fenyan Valley dare to knock on the door at this time. I see. It turned out to be Michelle Yeoh, that woman who blew herself up. No wonder Hongyun and Heian fell. Outside the formation light curtain. After overhearing Lu Hanfei's explanation, Duan Yantian's expression became extremely ferocious, and his cultivation reached its peak at this moment. An oval weapon burning with blazing flames also appeared in front of Duan Yantian and others. This is the heavenly rank supreme grade mysterious weapon Red Flame Sword Shuttle, and it is also the natal mysterious weapon cultivated by Duan Yantian. It is composed of 108 fragments, and can even transform into a sword form. Duan Muzuying has disappeared for more than a year. Duan Muzuying is now seriously injured. Michelle Yeoh died by self-destruction for you. Now that you few bitches are left in Wanwaman, I want to see how you can stop me. As the words echoed between heaven and earth, Duan Yantian frantically poured his true energy into the Red Flame Sword Shuttle, and the Red Flame Sword Shuttle spun rapidly, forming a flame tornado in the void. Then, like a flood dragon entering the sea, it hit the formation light screen fiercely. Huo Yan and several other celestial elders from Burning Flame Valley all sacrificed their own natal weapons at this moment, and the divine ability burst out along with Duan Yantian. Strike with all your strength and block. Seeing the scene before her, Xu Danqing had no time to grieve and shouted at Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying. The cultivation level was pushed to the extreme, and the true energy crazily sank into the formation. Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying's eyes flickered slightly. At this moment, they seemed to be frantically outputting true energy, but secretly they were ready to stop at any time. Boom. Next moment, under the full attack of Duan Yantian and others, the formation light curtain was distorted to the extreme at this moment, and cracks spread crazily. Duan Muzuying stood in front of Baihua Pavilion and saw a terrifying scene in the void. A formation plate appeared in his hand, and he pressed the magic seal immediately. After this seal fell, the mountain protecting formation, which could have been sustained for a while, paused imperceptibly at this moment. The entire formation light curtain was immediately affected, and the formation light curtain was also weakened in an instant. Boom. With a sudden explosion, the formation light curtain was exploded on the spot. Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying quickly stopped their hands, holding Xu Danqing in a sudden burst of true energy, dragging the opponent to roll back. Duan Yantian, Huo Yan and others were like wolves that invaded the house. Rushed directly into the mountain gate of Wanhua Gate. What are you two doing? Suffering the terrifying backlash, Xu Danqing spat out a mouthful of blood and shouted to Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying in a confused voice. They could have resisted just now, but Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying actually stopped. Now if Duan Yantian and others are allowed to rush into Wanhua sect, won't the disciples of Wanhua sect be brutally slaughtered? Sister, please be patient and calm, everything is under control. Seeing Xu Danqing's anxious look, Lu Hanfei whispered at this time. The other party was stunned for a moment. And just then, seeing Duan Yantian and others break through the formation and enter the mountain gate, Duan Muzuying completely exploded in cultivation at this time, and her true energy was poured into the 10,000 flowers formation disc crazily. A beam of light shot into the sky at this moment. The mountain protecting formation that was originally blasted to pieces by Duan Yantian burst into even brighter light at this moment. Like a glass cover, it covers the entire Wanhua Gate again. Duan Muzuying, Great Elder. With the explosion of this cultivation aura, the mountain protecting formation regrouped. Duan Yantian and others, as well as Shu Danqing, all changed their expressions at this moment. Didn't Lu Hanfei just say that Duan Muzuying was seriously injured, so why is her cultivation aura so powerful now? The 10,000 flowers killing array starts. When these people were shocked and confused, Duan Muzuying's words echoed in the void. Many elders and disciples of Wanhua sect below formed seals one after another at this moment. The Xuanian true essence is like wisps of blue smoke, constantly intertwining within the 10,000 flowers gate. A large formation with the deacons and elders of Wanhua sect as the formation eye and the disciples of Wanhua sect as the formation base covered all the buildings of Wanhua sect in an instant. Hey Lu Hanfei, you just said that my senior sister blew herself up and died. Do you want to be drugged, you damn girl? When the formation below was condensed, Michelle Yeoh's fiery figure also appeared high in the sky. Michelle Yeoh, junior sister Zichong. Seeing the appearance of Michelle Yeoh, Duan Yantian and others and Shu Danqing couldn't help but shrink their pupils. Apparently he also realized that he had been deceived by Lu Hanfei just now. Senior sister, I had no choice but to do it just now. I hope you won't blame me. Hearing this, Lu Hanfei rolled her eyes at Michelle Yeoh, and then said to Shu Danqing slightly apologetically. Shu Danqing's personality is more withdrawn than theirs, so she shouldn't come to her every day to discuss with her just because she was deceived, right? If you are obsessed with it, you will have a hard time. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect that after working for a long time, it was you girls who were the ones pulling the strings. Duan Yantian looked at the white-haired beauties in front of him, and his words echoed in the world with a somewhat eerie tone. Where does your sect leader have 2 other girls? No need to hide, let's call them all out together. I would like to see if you can gather all the celestial human realm experts from Wanhua sect to keep me here. There was a touch of arrogance in Senran's words, as if he was not afraid of Duan Muzuying and others at all. His cultivation level has reached the peak of the 9th level of heaven and human realm, and his body has been sealed with 1,000 years of earth heart fire. If you really work hard, no one in the 9th level of heaven and human realm can stop him. My sister is currently in seclusion, and the 7th and 8th elders are not in the sect. So we are the only elders in the entire Wanhua sect. But even so, there are still people in Wanhuaman who can punish you at this time. After hearing Duan Yantian's arrogant words, Duan Muzuying spoke calmly at this time. What a joke. Except for your sister Duan Muzuying, looking at the entire Wanhua sect, who else can stop me? After hearing Duan Muzuying's words, Duan Yantian sneered disdainfully. The next moment, a cold light flashed in his eyes, staring at Duan Muzuying and others, and his cultivation exploded again at this moment. You girls are abstinent for life, let me help you experience what it's like to be held down by a man. 24%. Chapter 115 Valley Master, these women are crazy. As this sentence fell, Duan Yantian's whole body ignited with terrifying red flames, and his whole body was like the god of fire coming to the world, and the surrounding space became distorted. Huo Yan and the others also laughed ferociously, and each one erupted with a terrifying aura. Terrifying waves of fire continued to sweep through the void. It seems that gaining thousands of years of Earth's core fire has made you swell. But just when Duan Yantian and others were so powerful, a cold and biting voice suddenly echoed between heaven and earth. A voluptuous and sexy fiery red figure emerged like a ghost. Duan Yantian and others' pupils immediately shrank. The figure that originally wanted to rush out could not help but pause at this moment. Who are you? Feeling the terrible pressure on Kaian's body, Duan Yantian shouted loudly in confusion. What a strong sense of oppression. This person must be a powerful person in the 9th level of heaven and man. In addition to the woman Duan Muzuying, when did the Wanhua sect gain another 9th level heavenly being? Then the king of Japan suppressed the earth fire for thousands of years, and you suddenly attacked me from behind. Now you have forgotten me so quickly. Hearing Duan Yantian's roar, Kaian sneered and mocked, then took off her veil. Beautiful. Queen Medusa. Seeing this familiar and beautiful face in front of them, Duan Yantian, Huo Yan and others' pupils shrank violently, with looks of horror and disbelief on their faces. How can this be? Aren't you already dead? They saw that Queen Medusa, who was supposed to be dead, reappeared in front of them and colluded with the Wanhuaman. Duan Yantian's mind was in a mess at this time. That day, At the critical moment when Queen Medusa suppressed the Millennium Earth fire, he let Huo Yan and others restrain the other elders of the snake tribe, while he broke through the blockade and slapped Queen Medusa. Queen Medusa received his palm on her back, and the 1,000-year Earth core fire rebounded and exploded from the front. The terrifying impact tore a crack in space and swallowed Queen Medusa whole. On the premise of being severely injured, he was also thrown into the turbulent flow of space. With Queen Medusa only having the strength of the 9th level of heaven and human beings, it is absolutely impossible for her to survive. But why is the other party alive and well and still appearing in Wanwa Gate? Could it be that those girls from Wanwaman saved her? Thanks to you. Not only did this king not die, he also met the most cherished person in this life. So in order to repay you, I decided to see you off. As the words fell, Kyan raised her head slightly. The red flame wind god wing appeared behind her, and even as she held it in the air, the red flame black sword also appeared. A horrifying and terrifying coercion immediately swept across the void. Before Duan Yantian could say anything, Kyan's figure had turned into an afterimage. Just like a thunderous thunder piercing the sky, he slashed towards Duan Yantian in an instant. In a hurry, Duan Yantian quickly raised the red flame sword shuttle, trying to block Kai Yan's terrifying sword. In an instant, just like two comets colliding, the roar suddenly shook 100 miles in radius. The terrifying impact was like a tsunami sweeping across them, forcing Duan Muzuing and others back hundreds of feet. The space at the center of the collision became extremely distorted, like a mirror about to break. Duan Yantian forcibly blocked Kyan's sword, raised his head and stared at the opponent. If you want to kill me, you, Medusa, are not qualified. I was able to severely injure you to death some time ago, and now I can still injure you a second time. In the roar, the terrifying impact broke out again, and both of them were shocked out. But the next moment, the murderous intent in the eyes of the two people became more and more intense, and their bodies turned into afterimages, constantly colliding in the void. The terrifying aftermath of the impact continued to rage, causing the Wanwa Gate Mountain Guard formation to tremble continuously. The whole world seemed to have set off an 18-level red flame storm. The numerous elders and disciples of the 10,000 Flowers sect below were all furiously cultivating themselves, resisting the impact with the 10,000 Flowers fall-killing formation. Quickly, kill them, seeing that the fight between Kyan and Duan Shadian has entered a fierce stage. Duan Muzuing took a deep breath, her eyes were directly locked on Huo Yan and others, and she also issued a kill order at this moment. The 3rd elder and the 5th elder died in Fenyan Valley. 2 of the 7 heavenly elders died. Although there are still 5 elders, their overall combat power is weaker than them. In addition, they have Xiao Chen here, so they are not afraid of being hit hard. If you want to kill these people, you can definitely do it. Junior sister, just exchange the injury for injury. As long as your head is not chopped off on the spot, Master can rescue you. At the time the order is given. After Duan Muzuing told Xu Danqing, she took the lead in breaking out her cultivation and rushed towards Huo Yan and others. Michelle Yeoh, Lu Hanfei and others all looked crazy at this time. One by one, like tigresses descending the mountain, they all burst into cultivation and rushed towards those people. Just exchange injury for injury. Hearing Duan Muzuing's words, Xu Danqing couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. Obviously I don't fully understand the meaning of this sentence. I also don't understand who the young master Duan Muzuing is talking about. However, out of trust in Duan Muzuing, Xu Danqing didn't think too much at this time, and immediately broke out with her cultivation and rushed towards the 2nd elder of Fenyan Valley. Above the void, countless petals fell like snow, and terrifying murderous intent filled the world. The 5 elders of Wanwa sect, each one like a demon, attacked Huo Yan and others crazily. This terrifying way of fighting scared Huo Yan and others. Valley Master, these women are crazy. Quickly break through the mountain guarding formation, otherwise we will all die here. In the fighting that lasted for less than half a quarter of an hour, Huo Yan and the others all spurted blood. The extremely anxious voice echoed between heaven and earth. In the past, when fighting against the girls like Wanwaman, these girls had a relatively stable fighting style and basically focused on self-defense. But now, these 5 girls actually exchanged injuries for injuries, and each of them was more crazy than the last. They were completely killing the enemy by 1,000 and damaging themselves by 800. How many of them have never seen such a battle before? Don't you see that I am too busy taking care of myself? Where are the things I gave you? Why don't you use them now and keep them to burn incense for the new year? Hearing Huo Yan's words echoing between heaven and earth, Duan Yantian took advantage of being kicked away by Kai Yan, and his words echoed hysterically in the void. Keep fighting like this. The earth-centered fire that had been suppressed for thousands of years in his body was already showing signs of breaking through and reappearing in the world. By the way, we still have a trump card. After hearing Duan Yantian's words, Huo Yan seemed to have remembered something, and a look of madness appeared on his face at this moment. You dare to spirit partition in the middle of a fight, are you looking down on me? Just when Huo Yan showed a crazy expression, as a voice came into his ears, a sword light also slashed down on the spot. In an instant, the hair on Huo Yan's body trembled and exploded, and he quickly dodged when his cultivation level exploded. The sword light grazed his head and hit his chest mercilessly. Huo Yan's heavenly rank Xuanyi was cut open on the spot, and a wound deep enough to show the bone also appeared on it. This caused Huo Yan to let out a shrill scream, and his whole body roared like a madman. Duan Mu Zuying, you bunch of stinky bitches Huo men, try the gift that the Valley Master has prepared for you. In this roar, Huo Yan rolled back crazily and threw several spherical objects in his hand. 24%. Chapter 116. Such a cunning woman, how could she be like this? Could this be heavenly fire, mysterious thunder? Duan Mu Zuying's face turned cold at this moment when she felt faint violent energy fluctuations coming from those spherical objects. A defensive shield was condensed during the burst of true energy, and a sword light immediately blasted towards the spherical object. Boom! As those spherical objects were exploded on the spot, there was no terrifying storm impact as expected. Instead, a strange burst of red smoke began to sweep away like a storm. No, it's poisonous. Seal this world with all your strength and don't let the poisonous mist spread. Duan Mu Zuying's complexion changed after seeing this scene before her, and she immediately shouted at Lu Hanfei and others. When the words fell, Duan Mu Zuying condensed a series of true energy barriers, trying to seal the red poisonous mist at high altitude. No matter what kind of poison this is, once it spreads to the mountain gate below. It was a devastating blow to all the disciples of Wanhua sect. But as her true energy barrier condensed, the red poisonous mist actually passed through the true energy blockade and began to penetrate and spread toward the world. Ha ha ha, it's useless. This is a special poisonous mist that the Valley Master asked the Alchemy King Ji Yu Qinghe to refine. It's called Qixiang Longyan Powder. This object can ignore the true energy blockade of the powerful celestial human realm and enter the human body through the pores to trigger the most primitive desires. Even a strong person from the celestial human realm will be hit by the red fragrant dragon yin powder. Within 3 hours, if it is not resolved with the method of yin and yang dual cultivation, the evil fire will burn the heart and become possessed and lead to death. After seeing Duan Mu Zuying's actions, at this moment, Huo Yan took a sip of red fragrance dragon's yin powder and felt the primitive impulses begin to emerge from his body, and his true energy became violent at this moment. He couldn't help but laugh wildly. In fact, Qixiang Longyan powder, in addition to stimulating the human body's primitive desires, can also stimulate the true energy to go wild in a short period of time. This increase is more obvious for those who practice fire or yang attributes. It is no exaggeration to say that if they inhale a large amount of red fragrant dragon yin powder, their combat power will be increased by several %. It is necessary to find a pure yin woman to detoxify afterwards, otherwise the evil fire will backfire and become possessed and die. If it were in other places, it would be really hard to find a pure yin woman. But within this 10,000 flowers gate, there are a lot of these pure yin women, especially the girls in front of me, all of them are supreme grade cauldrons. Therefore, this red fragrance dragon yin powder is now a great tonic that can increase the cultivation and combat power of the strong men in Burning Flame Valley. As the thought falls, Huo Yan took another puff of red smoke, his eyes gradually turned red, and his expression became more ferocious. The other elders of Burning Flame Valley also roared and drove away Lu Hanfei and others, using the force of the shock to rush into the red smoke. In just a few moments, the auras of the elders of Fenyan Valley became more and more violent one by one. The smoke formed by the red incense dragon's yin powder also began to spread downwards under the bombardment of the storm. Great Elder, what should we do? This thing can't be blocked with true energy. I'm afraid it won't take long before it spreads throughout the Wanhua Gate. Huo Yan and others were seen rushing into the smoke. Xu Danqing, Lu Hanfei and others did not dare to enter rashly, nor did they dare to directly blast the red smoke with their true energy. Once the red fragrance dragon yin powder completely spreads and all the disciples of Wanhua sect are poisoned, I'm afraid that the 10,000 flowers gate is over. Senior sister, leave this poisonous mist to me. Just when Duan Muzuing opened her mouth, a voice echoed excitedly throughout the world. Michelle Yeoh's whole body erupted with terrifying suction, and her whole body burst into the poisonous mist. Pickle. This scene shocked Duan Muzuing, Xu Danqing and others on the spot. Was there any mistake? This is Kai Shang Long Yin powder, a shocking poison. Michelle Yeoh not only didn't avoid it, she even rushed in. Pickle, are you crazy? This poison can be absorbed with storage treasures. You are just dying in vain by doing this. In shock and confusion, Xu Danqing shouted loudly at this time. Then he burst out and rushed over, trying to intercept Michelle Yeoh. The sect has been kind to me in raising me up, and I won't let anything happen to the sect. After I swallow this poisonous mist, I must let Mr. Xiao come and save me. Seeing Xu Danqing's burst of cultivation and rushing towards her, Michelle Yeoh also burst out of her true energy at this moment. Thousands of petals turned into a torrent and immediately hit Xu Danqing, trying her best to prevent the other party from rushing in with her. Duan Muzuing, Lu Hanfei and others were stunned at this moment after hearing these two words from Michelle Yeoh. Let Mr. Xiao save her. The next moment, Duan Muzuing, Lu Hanfei and others all reacted. No wonder this woman is so excited and not afraid of this red fragrant dragon. That was the original idea. If you swallow the red incense dragon yin powder, you must find a man to detoxify you within 3 hours, otherwise your heart will be burned by the evil fire and you will die. There are no other side effects. In addition, looking at the entire Wanhua sect at this time, apart from the beasts like Fenyangu, there is only one man, Xiao Chen. And as Mr. Xiao is the heir of a miraculous doctor, there is no need for him to die without saving his life. So Michelle Yeoh took this opportunity to naturally dedicate herself to Xiao Chen. What a cunning woman, how could she do this? Boom. When Duan Muzuing and others had finished their thoughts, Michelle Yeoh's attack directly forced Xu Danqing back. This made Xu Danqing's face turn a little pale. Although Michelle Yeoh is a bit irrational on weekdays, she often drugged her and was chased and beaten. But what if I saw Michelle Yeoh sacrifice herself to protect the sect? She felt a little bit like a knife in her heart. Great Elder, save Zaichang quickly. Just as he stabilized his body, Xu Danqing shouted loudly. Senior sister, you can't swallow this poisonous mist alone, the two of us are here to help you. Just when Xu Danqing finished speaking, Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying suddenly looked at each other, encouraged each other and then made a decision. Immediately afterwards, before Xu Danqing could react, the two of them turned into an afterimage and both rushed into the red poisonous mist. The burst of cultivation crazily devoured this poisonous mist. Hanfei, Qingying, when Xu Danqing saw this scene, she was completely confused. Crazy. Everyone is going crazy. This is so vicious. It's not a natural treasure, but everyone is rushing to suck it. Is your brain broken? Junior sister, you stay to hold on to the battle. After a few of us have swallowed the poisonous mist, you will be in charge of the Wanwamen for the time being. Seeing Lu Hanfei and Li Qingying sacrifice themselves for others, Duan Muzuing seemed to be moved at this moment. After saying something to Xu Danqing, he also burst into cultivation and rushed into the poisonous mist. Sister, I can't let you all be stupid. Seeing that Duan Muzuing also wanted to rush into the poisonous mist, Xu Danqing burst into cultivation in confusion. He quickly stopped the other party. Junior sister, get out of the way. If you don't move faster, the poisonous mist will be absorbed by them. Duan Muzuing became anxious when she was stopped by Xu Danqing. She had been naked by Xiao Chen before. But she is already old, and it is too difficult for her to ask Xiao Chen to take responsibility. But if you are poisoned by adultery and commit yourself to Empress Xiao Chen, the other party can't even think of being irresponsible. This is her chance. When the thought fell, Duan Muzuing completely exploded in cultivation, broke away from Xu Danqing and rushed in directly. Such a strong determination made Xu Danqing stupid. 24%. Chapter 117. It's over. The kidney failure crisis is about to begin. We once agreed to live and die together, but you each sacrificed yourself for others and wanted me to live alone. But I, Xu Danqing, am a person who is greedy for life and afraid of death. Today I will accompany you to go crazy. Seeing Duan Muzuing and others rushing into the poisonous mist and swallowing them up, Xu Danqing seemed to be insulted, and at this moment she snorted and joined in. The cultivation base also exploded to the extreme, madly devouring this poisonous mist. Duan Muzuing and others were dumbfounded. This is really a big deal. Several elders of the sect are all poisoned by adultery. If they don't kill Huo Yan and others later, this is digging your own grave. And this scene. It also made everyone below look stupid. Some Wanwaman disciples who were unaware of the situation were so moved when they saw Duan Muzuing and others being so decisive. In order to prevent the poisonous mist from spreading throughout the Wanwa sect, several elders even risked their lives. It is truly an honor for them to live in this kind of sect. Nangong Jing, Li Wanqing, and Han Xinyue looked very complicated. Only they know the little plans of Michelle Yeoh and others. The young master's charm is so terrifying that even several elders are rushing to sacrifice themselves. The three of them were the first to know Xiao Chen, but they could only watch others take the lead. Is there no possibility between them and Xiao Chen? When this thought emerged, Nangong Jing and others all had an impulse in their hearts, that is, they also wanted to go up and take a sip of the red fragrant dragon yin powder. But in the end reason prevailed over impulse. Of course, Nangong Jing and Li Wanqing couldn't fly, but Han Xinyue didn't have the courage. It's over, the kidney failure crisis is about to begin. While Nangong Jing and others were marveling, Xiao Chen stood in front of the main hall of Baihua Pavilion and suddenly felt a little pain in his back. Although he had thoughts about these women. But now these people are so proactive, and all of them are strong celestial human realm experts. The most outrageous thing is that they are now taking drugs. If we go together next, I'm afraid the ancient kidney body will be choked. All this is a long story, but it only took a moment. High in the sky, the fight between Duan Yantian and Kaiyan has entered a tragic moment. With his cultivation at the peak of the 9th level of heaven and human realm, he also has the power to control part of the earth's core fire for thousands of years. Duan Yantian could barely compete with Kaiyan. But as time goes by, the 1,000-year-old geocentric fire in his body became more and more violent, and even seemed to be on the verge of completely losing control. This also led to, at the beginning, he was able to keep up with Kaiyan, but now he was suppressed by the opponent and was at a disadvantage, and he had been injured in many places on his body. If no one helps him, he will lose sooner or later. And Huo Yan and others. Seeing Duan Muzuing and others sacrificing themselves for others, they all devoured the red fragrance dragon's yin powder crazily. They were stunned for a moment, and then couldn't help laughing wildly. Ha ha ha, you even think about using your body to swallow this poisonous mist. You are playing with fire and burning yourself. Next, you women have no choice but to have sex with us. As these two sentences spread, Huo Yan and others rushed towards Duan Muzuing and others with red eyes, and the aura exuding from their bodies was far more violent than before. Use the 7 killing Luo sword formation to kill them. After swallowing the poisonous mist all over the sky, feeling that her whole body was getting hotter and hotter, Duan Muzuing suppressed her impulse and shouted in a low voice. The Wanwaman's cultivation methods have the same origin, and the elders all have pure yin constitutions. Therefore, the ancestors created a kind of combined fencing array, which allowed multiple people to cooperate with each other to attack. It's just that although this combined attack method is very strong, it is prone to backlash from the meridians. Only when 7 people perform it together can the power be maximized and the backlash on the meridians minimized. But now that Mr. Xiao is here, they cannot be afraid of backlash. So even if there are only 5 people, they can forcefully open and close the fencing array. Next moment, as Duan Muzuing rushed out, Xu Danqing and others had a flash of red in their eyes, and then followed Duan Muzuing in a special position. The Xuanian true essence exploded crazily, directly forming a 5-pointed star array. Countless petals appeared out of thin air and turned into a sword energy frenzy in an instant. Not good. This is a combined attack method, get out of the way. Seeing the sword formation erupted by Duan Muzuing and others, Huo Yan and others subconsciously wanted to dodge away. But Duan Muzuing and others gave no chance at all, and the 10,000 flowers sword chi came down like a tsunami. Huo Yan and others were unable to dodge, so they could only use divine ability to attack them hard. Along with the roaring explosion, a terrifying impact also swept across the heaven and earth, and the space continued to distort at this moment. That horrifying scene was not inferior to the brutal fight between Kaiyan and Duan Yantian above. Go to hell. Seeing that Huo Yan and others were still struggling to support themselves, Duan Muzuing showed a ruthless expression at this moment. Completely ignoring the damage to the meridians, I overloaded true conversion yuan at this moment. The 7 kills Luo sword formation erupted with even more terrifying sword light. No, Duan Muzuiying, if you kill a few of us, and there is no man to detoxify you, you will all die. Feeling that the physical trauma was close to the limit, Huo Yan yelled hysterically at this moment. But he had just finished speaking. The red flame barrier condensed by them was penetrated by sword light at this moment, accompanied by splashes of blood. Huo Yan and several other elders of Fenyan Valley were shot into pieces by the sword light on the spot. Duan Muzuiying and others also felt uncomfortable. As the 7 kills Luo sword formation withdrew, each of them spurted blood and their faces became increasingly red. Even his legs couldn't help but clench at this moment, as if the urge to urinate came to his mind. Senior sister, your lust and poison can't be suppressed so quickly. Seeing that the faces of Duan Muzuiying and others became enchanting, Shu Danqing raised her hand to wipe the blood from the corner of her mouth, and asked Duan Muzuiying in a weak voice. She was the last one to swallow the Kai Shang Long Yin powder, and her palace had not been repaired yet, so her desire was not very strong at this time. Now I see that Duan Muzuiying and others are all blushing, and they are completely out of control. There was doubt and confusion on her face. Although this poison is very strong, with the cultivation level of Duan Muzuiying and others, it is no problem to suppress it for an hour. Unexpectedly, it was only half a quarter of an hour, and everyone looked at them almost dying. Could it be that the backlash just now was too serious? Our palace has been repaired by the young master, and her fertility has been completely restored. She is no different from an ordinary girl. That's why the feeling will be stronger than yours at this time. After hearing Shu Danqing's question, Duan Muzuiying explained a few words. However, he did not dwell on this topic and just gave another order to Lu Hanfei and others. While we are still conscious, let's help Queen Medusa kill Duan Yantian first, and then let Mr. Xiao help us detoxify. But just when Duan Muzuiying said these words, above the void, the battle situation suddenly changed. Seeing that Huo Yan and others died tragically in the hands of Duan Muzuiying and the others, Duan Yantian suddenly roared to the sky at this moment, and a terrifying red flame erupted. 24%. Chapter 118. Duan Yantian's death. Xiao Chen's suicide was in vain. You damn stinky women have actually pushed me to this point. In this roar, Duan Yantian took out the seal in his hand and completely released the 1,000-year earth core fire. In an instant, the terrifying red flame swept away from his body crazily, turning Duan Yantian's entire body into a burning man, and even made him let out an extremely shrill roar. Between the bursts of fire, Kaiyan was forced to retreat. Such a horrific scene. It also made Duan Muzuiying and others' expressions change, and they looked solemnly at the sea of fire. Use all your strength to kill him. He wants to integrate Union the Millennium Earth Core Fire and transform his body into the Red Flame Sacred Body, thereby forcibly breaking through to the Saint Realm. After realizing Duan Yantian's crazy plan, Kaiyan shouted directly at this moment. While talking, the red flame wind god wings behind Kaiyan fully unfolded, and 2 colorful sky-swallowing pythons rushed out with roars. The whole body was filled with huge waves of fire, circling like a tornado. The next moment, as Kaiyan slashed down with swords in both hands, the 2 colorful sky-swallowing pythons roared and entangled together. It turned directly into a 1,000-foot sword light and slashed down at Duan Yantian. When Duan Muzuiying and others heard this, they didn't talk nonsense. At this moment, they forcibly suppressed Kai Shanglong Yansan, and then used the 7 kills Luo sword formation again. Countless petals turned into sword energy, just like 10,000 swords returning to their clan. He blasted towards Duan Yantian like crazy. A bunch of despicable bitches, you are trying to stop me. Seeing the killing moves roaring from the sky and the earth, Duan Yantian condensed a terrifying shield in his roar. Then it went head to head with all the divine ability. Boom. As the divine abilities fell one after another, the roar was like the roar of the sky, directly shaking within 100 miles. The mountain protecting formation that shrouded the 10,000 flowers gate in the sky exploded like a glass cover at this moment. The countless Wanhua sect disciples below all felt like their ears were about to go deaf, and their blood and energy were boiling all over their bodies. But each of them could only burst out their cultivation crazily, using the 10,000 flowers death-killing formation to withstand the aftermath of the storm. Ha ha ha, Integrated Union has absorbed part of the Millennium Earth Core Fire. With the strength of the few of you, there is no way you can break through this defense. When I completely integrate Union 1,000 years of Earth Core Fire, I will come to crush you one by one. Looking at the wall of fire gathering around him, blocking all kinds of divine abilities, Duan Yantian couldn't help laughing wildly at this moment. Because what he didn't expect was, as Kyan, Duan Muzuing and others attacked, the thousand-year earth core fire was being forcibly integrated into his body. Kyan and others wanted to kill him, but instead they helped him break through. What if we add the leader of this sect? B+. W at W. Just when Kyan, Duan Muzuing and others heard this, their faces became gloomy, and at this moment they all wanted to fight back and explode. As a cold voice echoed between heaven and earth. A woman who looked very similar to Duan Muzuing, but whose cultivation aura was even more terrifying, suddenly appeared in the void at this moment. This person is Duan Muzuing, the master of Wanhua sect, and Duan Muzuing's biological sister. She has a powerful cultivation level in the 9th level of heaven and human. Image of Duan Muzuing, the master of Wanhua sect. Duan Muzuing, elder sister, master. After seeing the figure emerging from the void, no matter Duan Yantian or Duan Muzuing, their expressions could not help but change at this moment. But before they could say anything, Duan Muzuing took action at this moment. Although he didn't understand why Duan Yantian appeared at Wanwaman, he also had a fierce fight with Duan Muzuing and others. Even Queen Medusa of the Snake Tribe actually participated in this fight. But judging from the current situation, Duan Yantian is the enemy. So, when the thought falls, the injuries caused by the backlash of Duan Muzuing's suppression technique also pushed his cultivation to the extreme at this moment. A mysterious shadow appeared behind her, like a flower fairy banished to the mortal world. Countless petals fell like falling snow, and a sword intent burst into the sky. 10,000 flowers. Jinghong. As the sounds of these words echoed between heaven and earth, Duan Mu's snowy shadow turned into a stream of light and rose into the sky. Next moment, it was like the sun falling from the sky. A terrifying sword light fell from the sky in an instant and penetrated Duan Yantian. No, seeing Duan Muzuing's famous move, Duan Yantian roared unwillingly. He is now semi-saint, and his body has undergone a huge transformation. As long as he can completely transform his body and trigger the holy tribulation of heaven and earth, he is likely to break through the saint realm. But as Duan Muzuing suddenly came out of seclusion, all these changes came to nothing. Boom. After this sword light fell. The protective shield condensed by Duan Yantian completely exploded at this moment. Many divine abilities hit him together, and the sword light penetrated through him. The terrifying impact swept across like a tsunami, and cracks were torn apart in the twisted space at this moment. Duan Yantian's arm exploded completely, and a hole was opened in his chest. The whole person was blasted to the ground below in the impact. But because most of his body had transformed into a holy body, Duan Yantian did not die immediately at this moment, but stared at the Wanhua gate below with red eyes. Ha ha ha, even if I die today, I will hold all the disciples of Wanhua sect on my back. With the help of the bombardment power of Duan Muzuing and others. Duan Yantian completely released the thousand-year earth core fire in his body, and his whole body fell towards Wanwaman Square like a meteorite. That kind of devastating offensive caused everyone in Wanwaman to change their expressions drastically. Not good. Stop him quickly. Seeing this scene in front of me, Duan Muzuing and others seemed to be going crazy, shooting towards Duan Yantian. No, the young master is still down there. Even Kai Yan, who had always remained calm-faced, swooped down crazily at this moment. She didn't care about the other people in Wanhua Gate, but at this moment Xiao Chen was in the building below. Once Duan Yantian self-destructs below, the entire Wanhua Gate will be reduced to rubble. That kind of terrifying lethality is enough to wipe out all the monks below the celestial human realm within 10 miles. But at this time, Kyan, Duan Muzuing and others had just finished their divine ability. He was in a state of weakness where his old strength had just faded away and new strength had yet to be regenerated. Even if he tried his best, it would be difficult to catch up with Duan Yantian. Below, Nangong Jing, Li Wanqing and many other Wanhua sect disciples were all frightened to the spot when they saw the meteor falling from the sky. This moment, even if they work together to form the 10,000 flowers death-killing formation, there is no way they can contend with this kind of impact. Once Duan Yantian falls, they will all die. I didn't expect that this short life would end like this, without even having time to devote myself to the young master. And just when everyone's expressions changed drastically, and everyone showed despair, a stream of light suddenly rose into the sky from the Baihua Pavilion. Just like the thunder from the sky stirring up the fire on the earth, it slammed towards Duan Yantian. That's young master. The pupils of Kyan, Duan Muzuying and others who were swooping down from the sky shrunk into pinhole shapes after seeing the true face of the stream of light. What are you going to do? Why rush towards Duan Yantian? No. The next moment, Qian, Duan Muzuying and others understood Xiao Chen's plan. This is to use his own body to stop Duan Yantian from falling. Let the opponent completely explode directly in the void. After understanding this, Qian, Duan Muzuying and others all screamed in horror. Just when their roars were heard, Xiao Chen's figure rising into the sky had already collided with Duan Yantian. 25%. Chapter 119. We are suffering down here, but you are showing affection up there. Boom. There was a huge explosion accompanied by roaring sounds. It was like an active volcano exploding in the void. The destructive crimson flames swept across like a tsunami, and the entire void was constantly distorting at this moment. The pupils of Qian, Duan Muzuying and others all shrank violently as the sea of fire erupted. Master. The sad words echoed between heaven and earth, and Qian swooped down again at this moment, trying to rush into the sea of fire to rescue Xiao Chen. The faces of Duan Muzuying and others were ashen, and the luster in their eyes gradually disappeared at this moment. Such a horrific self-destruction attack. No matter which one of them, if they bear it head-on, they will never survive. Mr. Xiao. He died like that. As this thought fell, Duan Muzuying and others felt like the world was spinning at this moment. Stop barking. This young master is not dead yet. Just as the colorful smoke roared and swooped down, Duan Muzuying and others were so sad that they couldn't take a breath, and Xiao Chen's rapid words echoed between heaven and earth. Immediately afterwards, under the reflection of everyone's eyes, Xiao Chen's whole body was filled with a faint golden light, and he rushed out of the sea of fire unscathed. Master. Seeing Xiao Chen appearing in front of me again, there was nothing wrong with him. Whether it was Qian or Duan Muzuying, all of them had expressions of disbelief on their faces, which turned into unspeakable ecstasy the next moment. Only Duan Muzuying and Xu Danqing did not change much in their mood. They just rushed towards the Wanwaman square below and started to resist the wave of fire with a crazy burst of cultivation. Master. When the golden light from Xiao Chen's body dissipated, Qian rushed to Xiao Chen and hugged him tightly. I'm afraid that the Xiao Chen in front of me is just an illusion. Lie. Feeling that his face was buried by a pair of giant objects, Xiao Chen couldn't help but struggle at this moment. A deep feeling, accompanied by a kind of suffocation, directly overwhelmed him. Unexpectedly, Queen Medusa cares about him so much now. Duan Muzuying and others were slightly startled by the seemingly warm scene in front of them. But before they could think about anything more, Duan Muzuying's voice also sounded. What are you thinking about? Hurry up and seal the Millennium Earth Core fire. Is the sect planning to let go of it? Seeing Duan Muzuying and others staring at Xiao Chen and Qian in the sky, while the sea of fire in the void turned into a tsunami and came crashing down, Duan Muzuying immediately yelled at them. Even because he was too excited. In addition, two powerful bursts of cultivation directly affected the injuries in the body, and a mouthful of blood spurted out from the mouth. And the many disciples and elders below were all bursting with cultivation. The formation patterns filled the entire Wanwaman building, trying their best to resist the horrific aftermath of the impact. But even so, there were still many disciples who couldn't bear the impact and fell to their knees one by one as blood spurted out. This precarious situation made Duan Muzuying extremely anxious. After hearing Duan Muzuying's roar, Duan Muzuying and others also came to their senses. At this moment, he quickly broke out his cultivation, and then used his true energy to condense the barrier and began to block the sea of fire. However, due to the brutal fighting they had just experienced, and the fact that they still had the red incense dragon's yin powder in their bodies, their strength was greatly weakened at this time. Therefore, even if they push their cultivation to the extreme, several people working together can barely block the sea of fire. But it was unable to compress all the crimson flames that had erupted from the 1,000-year Earth core fire. Sister, quickly activate the mountain protection formation and suppress the 1,000-year Earth core fire. After barely restraining the sweep of the sea of fire, Duan Muzuying took out a formation plate with her backhand and threw it to Duan Muzuying below. Now that she was injured and poisoned, her condition was rapidly weakening, and she was no longer able to activate the formation disc. We can only place our hope on Duan Muzuying. The 10,000 flowers Luo Shen formation, rise. Hearing this, Duan Muzuying caught the heavenly rank array and said no unnecessary nonsense at this moment. His hands immediately formed a seal, and the true energy was poured into the array crazily. As Duan Muzuying's low shout came out, a beam of light rose into the sky from the formation plate, and lines continued to interweave in the void. The mountain protecting formation that was originally broken and collapsed also appeared in the void at this moment. Next moment, the seal in Duan Muzuying's hand changed again. The 10,000 flowers Luo Shen formation burst out with bright light, and countless petals fell out of thin air in the void. Then it surrounded the sea of fire like a torrent, condensing into a cage of thousands of flowers to completely seal the void. It seemed that he was aware that the surrounding world was blocked, and the thousand-year fire in the heart of the earth became more and more violent at this moment. Waves of fire were like tsunamis, constantly bombarding the 10,000 flowers cage. As a result, the entire mountain guarding formation was trembling crazily. Quick, pour your true energy into the array. Feeling the crumbling of the 10,000 flowers Luo Shen formation, Duan Muzuying shouted at the others. Duan Muzuying and others didn't have any unnecessary nonsense. They took a breath to suppress the poison and injuries on their bodies. One by one, they fell around Duan Muzuying, and the true energy turned into a torrent and poured into the array. With the true energy support of several celestial human realm powerhouses, the 10,000 flowers gate Luo Shen formation burst out with even brighter light. The 10,000 flowers cage was also shrinking at this time, as if it wanted to completely suppress the thousand-year earth fire. But at this time, the thousand-year earth core fire had completely gone berserk after devouring Duan Yantian. Waves of fire continued to bombard the 10,000 flowers cage, making Duan Muzuying and others' faces become paler. In their current state, they simply cannot last long. Once the Millennium Earth core fire is completely broken, the entire Wanhua Gate will be destroyed. And all this is a long story, but in fact it only took a moment. When Duan Muzuying and others barely blocked the raging fire from the center of the earth for thousands of years. Kaiyan felt Xiao Chen struggling in her arms, and then she let go of her hands in a daze. Hiss. My mother, I almost suffocated you two big babies to death. Xiao Chen broke away from Kaiyan's milky fragrance and couldn't help but take a deep breath of fresh air. One sentence made Kaiyan blush a little. Well, let me show you a beautiful photo of the queen, lest you forget her turbulent momentum. Sir, what happened just now? After taking a deep breath to calm down, Kaiyan asked with some fear. The scene just now had a huge impact on her. She never expected that Xiao Chen would be so crazy and rush towards Duan Yantian regardless of his own life or death. And after enduring a horrific attack, she was able to escape from the sea of fire unscathed, which simply broke all her perceptions. This is my special life-saving ability. I can be immune to fatal damage once a day. I didn't tell you before, but it made you worried. Seeing Kaiyan's eyes trembling and looking at him, Xiao Chen felt a little ashamed. Even he didn't expect that Kaiyan would care about him so much. When he sees his life in danger, he will rush to him without hesitation. Even though the terrifying impact ahead was enough to cause her fatal trauma, there was no pause at that moment. Sir, next time. Even if you are absolutely sure, don't take such risks. Putting yourself in danger for a group of unrelated people. It's not worth it. After hearing Xiao Chen's explanation, Kaiyan raised her head and stared at Xiao Chen, and said in a very serious voice. In her eyes, all the people in Wanwaman combined are not as good as Xiao Chen. Even if she had a trump card, Kaiyan didn't want Xiao Chen to take risks. Well, I'll listen to you from now on. Xiao Chen smiled lightly when he heard this and touched Kaiyan's head, making the queen shy again. Duan Muzuying and others below were holding on tightly at this time. Seeing the sweet look of the two people in the sky, each of them spurted out a mouthful of blood. Sir, if you don't let Queen Medusa take action, the Earth's inner fire will really be unstoppable for thousands of years. When the injury, lust, and jealousy broke out at the same time, Michelle Yeoh couldn't help shouting to the sky at this moment. They suffer down there, while others enjoy themselves above. Isn't this too bullying? 25%. Chapter 120. Don't panic, I'm here, no surprises. After hearing Michelle Yeoh's words, Xiao Chen and Kaiyan noticed that the situation was already in danger. The thousand-year-old earth core fire that had been sealed within the 10,000 flowers cage became increasingly violent at this moment, threatening to destroy the world. As for Duan Muzuying and others, their auras were all disordered at this time. It seemed that he would be unable to hold on and fall to the ground in the next moment. Sir, what should I do? Should we evacuate Wanwaman first? After seeing the situation in front of her, Kaiyan said solemnly. Thousand-year-old earth core fire is a special flame bred by heaven and earth. Its level has almost surpassed that of ordinary objects and has completely entered the ranks of holy objects. Her previous ability to suppress the 1,000-year Earth core fire was by mobilizing all the heavenly elders of the snake tribe and using a heavenly rank formation as the foundation. Only then can this cluster of 1,000-year-old Earth core fire be weakened and forcibly suppressed. However, she and many elders of the snake tribe suffered a lot of backlash and consumption, and were later missed by Duan Yantian. And now, after Duan Yantian's self-destruction, the 1,000-year Earth core fire devoured the opponent's fire attribute cultivation, and has now returned to its peak state. Duan Muzuiying and others were all seriously injured, so even with all the strength of the sect, it was impossible to stop them. Don't worry, it's not a big problem. This cluster of 1,000-year-old Earth's core fire is still yours after going around and around. Looking at the 1,000-year Earth core fire in the cage of thousands of flowers, Xiao Chen turned around and said to Kaiyan with a smile. Of all the people present, the only one who can swallow and refine this flame is Queen Medusa. Sir, you want me to conquer the 1,000-year Earth core fire? After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Kaiyan raised her head in surprise. Although her current strength is a bit stronger than before, she can conquer the Millennium Earth core fire by herself. The success rate will not exceed 30%. Not to mention that the Earth's core fire, which has lasted for thousands of years, is still in a state of complete rage. Don't worry, I won't let you take risks. As long as your sky-swallowing python bloodline undergoes transformation, it will not be difficult for you to conquer the 1,000-year Earth core fire. Even this time, you can use the 1,000-year Earth core fire to completely break through to the Saint Realm level. Seemingly sensing Kaiyan's worry, Xiao Chen said with a faint smile. These are just 3 sentences. Kaiyan's pupils immediately shrank, and there was a roar in her mind. Young master, are you finally going to help her cleanse her marrow and cut off her veins, completely breaking the shackles of her bloodline? If you want to be willful, look at Queen Medusa's expression of surprise and admiration. Sir, we really can't hold on anymore. When Xiao Chen finished speaking, Michelle Yeoh's voice calling her father and mother came again from below. Go ahead. Xiao Chen was speechless upon hearing this, and immediately swooped down, with Kaiyan following closely behind. When they landed over Wanhua Square, I found that Duan Muzuiying and others were indeed approaching their limit. Duan Muzuiying's face was extremely pale, blood was constantly spilling from the corners of his mouth, and his expression looked very painful. She suffered a backlash from her skills and was so injured that she has barely recovered yet. This time she sensed that something had happened to her sect, and she broke through the barrier in advance and exploded several times in succession, putting her body into an overloaded state. He hasn't collapsed on the spot yet, it's just his willpower that holds him up. And so did Duan Muzuiying and others. At this time, everyone's body was seriously injured, and Qi Xianglongyinsen began to take effect. Everyone's breath was disordered, their faces were sometimes pale and sometimes flushed, and their beautiful legs couldn't help but tremble. I'll help them recover from their injuries first, then you take back the bodies of those people. Glancing at Michelle Yeoh and others, Xiao Chen gave Kaiyan a warning. Except for Duan Yantian, whose body was blown to pieces and swallowed by the Earth's core fire for thousands of years, the bodies of Huo Yan and others and Na Ji are all treasures. Kaiyan heard that there was no nonsense, and immediately went to collect the corpse and Na Ji. This scene, Duan Muzuiying and others were dumbfounded. They were struggling here to support themselves, finally waiting for Queen Medusa to come, but the other party went to pick up the spoils. Son, Duan Muzuiying said tremblingly when she saw Kaiyan leaving straight away. But before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Xiao Chen. Don't panic, I'm here, no surprises. Looking at Duan Muzuiying's face, her face is so delicate and beautiful, and her whole body exudes the aura of resurrection of all things. After Xiao Chen coughed dryly, he raised his hand and unleashed his cultivation. Runes immediately surrounded the surroundings, and a palm pressed on Duan Muzuiying's back. With a flash of white light, Duan Muzuiying's injuries were all restored at this moment. It's just that the red fragrance dragon yin powder cannot be purified at this time. After all, the system's repair ability only restores items to their original state, and cannot purify the negative power carried by items. Hiss, Zuiying Great Elder's injuries have actually recovered. Seeing Duan Muzuiying with a rosy face full of spring, Duan Muzuiying and Xu Danqing beside them couldn't help but take a deep breath. Just a few clicks of your hand can repair physical injuries. Who is this young man in front of me? Master Xiao has incredible repairing abilities. As long as the head is not chopped off on the spot, Master Xiao can heal it. Even the hidden diseases caused by the backlash of yin qi from our Wanhua sect, Mr. Xiao can cure them with just a few strokes. Seeing the horrified expressions on Duan Muzuying and Xu Danqing's faces, Duan Muzuying suppressed the red Yonglong Yin San in her body. He immediately sent a message to Duan Muzuying and Xu Danqing. What? After hearing Duan Muzuying's words, Duan Muzuying and Xu Danqing both had expressions of disbelief on their faces. A fluctuation in their cultivation level almost caused the 10,000 flowers cage to collapse on the spot. While several people were talking, Xiao Chen also followed the same pattern. After spending over 100,000 points, Michelle Yeoh and others were repaired, and then they came to Duan Muzuying and Xu Danqing. Remember not to resist, otherwise your efforts will be in vain. After taking a look at these two strange beauties, Xiao Chen warned them calmly. Then the cultivation concentration runes erupted, and a palm was pressed on Xu Danqing's back. Fortunately, Duan Muzuying and others were used as examples. Although Xu Danqing was a little resistant at this time, she still honestly lifted the defense on her back. As a burst of mysterious power poured into the body, all the injuries and hidden illnesses suffered by the body were repaired at this moment. This made Xu Danqing couldn't help but exclaim, with a look of shock and disbelief on her face. Not only has her injuries recovered, but her palace has also recovered. This means, from now on, she will be a normal woman again. Just when this thought fell, the urge to urinate suddenly came to her, causing her legs to tighten slightly. The face that had always been as cold as ice turned red for the first time. Damn it. After the palace was repaired, the toxicity of Kai Shuanglong Yin powder also exploded more violently. No wonder Duan Muzuying and others were like that just now. This feeling of emptiness and longing to be filled is indeed not something that ordinary women can resist. Xiao Chen didn't pay attention to what Xu Danqing was thinking. After healing the other party, he went straight behind Duan Muzuying. I saved your sect disciples once, and now I'm helping you recover from your physical injuries. You have to pay for this. Remember to replenish me afterwards. Looking at Duan Muzuying, who was controlling the formation disc, her face was as pale as paper and she was reaching her limit. Xiao Chen said carefully at this time. The operation just now consumed more than 100,000 points, if Wanwaman didn't compensate him afterwards. That would be a real disadvantage. Finished. Without waiting for Duan Muzuying to say anything, Xiao Chen burst out the cultivation concentration runes again, and then pressed his palm on Duan Muzuying's back. And pressed his palm on Duan Muzuying's back. And pressed his palm on Duan